Good evening and welcome to the future, otherwise known as episode 64 of Tomorrow's World Audit Time. Evening, Mark.
Hey, Russell, how are you?
Oh, it's the, the Paul McCartney point we've reached, haven't we? Paul McCartney point, 64.
That's true, yeah.
It's exciting, isn't it? Yeah.
He rather rudely barreled through that age, didn't he?
He did, didn't he? Was there any celebration of that?
I don't know. I don't remember the time. He doesn't seem to stop. He's still going, and I just think that's just offensive.
Yeah. You know what? That song, for a long time, I didn't realise that was a Beatles song. I just thought that was a theme tune to Points of View.
Yeah. And it just happened to have lyrics.
Yeah. Anyway, how are you enjoying yourself, Mark? You enjoying this very special time of year, Mark? This very special. I believe there's something going on that you enjoy.
Well, you alluded to in the last episode. You kind of implied that the next time you'd record, I'd be distracted by the fact that the World Cup was on, Ross.
Yes.
Well, more fool you, because I waited until there was no football on and one of those magical bye days to force you into recording this when there was nothing to distract me. But only for me, lo and behold, someone who's been talking about World Cups for, this is my 10th one that I record or something like that, and you poo-pooing them. And sure enough, about 3:30 in the morning, when I was downstairs watching England-Mexico, who texted me? Up at 4:30 in the morning watching it, it was you. It was Russell Cope.
I couldn't believe
What's
it,
that
Mark.
all about?
I couldn't believe it. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I actually enjoyed a football match. I found it absolutely thrilling. I don't know whether it's because I'd had a very heavy weekend and my emotions were running high. I don't know, but something ticked with me. That I absolutely loved that match against Mexico. I thought it was fantastic.
In your defence, it was a match that had absolutely everything.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. By the time we're recording this, England have lost the semi-final to Argentina.
Oh, wow.
So, which has
Spoiler
slightly
alert.
pissed on the chips of all the memories. Yeah, we're going to try and release this before we recorded it, so sorry about that. So if you're listening to this last Monday, I'm so sorry. I've got some bad news about Wednesday, which has slightly pissed in the chips of like the enjoyment of that and the Norway game. But no, I was hugely impressed that you were watching it.
Yeah.
What made you decide to watch it?
I don't know. Just had something. I had a feeling in my waters that it was going to be a good match. I don't know what it was.
Stirring in
Just
your loins.
some sort of,
it was a big match.
I don't know. The ghost of don't know, name a famous footballer. Alf Ramsey. The ghost of Alf Ramsey had
tapped you on the shoulder.
Yeah, tapped me on the shoulder and gone, Rush, you need to watch this. So I did, and I wasn't disappointed.
A name you only know because it was a pub near that estate at the bottom of Tunbridge Wells, right?
I was going to say because he was fish and chip shops, but
oh yeah. But yeah, no, I love the World Cup, Russ, as well. You know, I've enjoyed this one. I am slightly tired. I think per Josie has also been quite tired because she has also watched it and also enjoyed it. Oh. But some of these matches do go on a little bit late into the evening from a European perspective.
Does she get woken up by you blowing your whistle and swinging that one of those rattle things around?
Are you implying that I'm some kind of full kit referee wanker in bed?
Parping away on your vuvuzela.
It's what all the girls love, Russ.
Well, anyway, I mean, so as we always like to tie into the big world events. I think we did last time.
Especially when they've just happened.
Yes,
as well.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I had a little scrape around the barrel looking for something football themed. I think we've already done whatever the only World Cup themed one was a while back.
3.5 years ago.
Yeah. But I did find an episode that has what I found quite an entertaining football segment in it. So I thought, well, let's just do that one. So so that's what we're going to do, Mark.
Perfect.
Yeah. Should we get into it?
Yeah.
Good evening and welcome to Tomorrow's World. Tonight, the magic formula that could beat the bookies. Soccer mad mathematician Dr. Mark Dixon reveals his system for betting on football matches, and I'll be finding out if the numbers add up. Howard Stableford visits the film set where Hollywood director Leo Sanchez Adega is currently filming material for the next generation of computer games. And an extraordinary breakthrough in the treatment of brain tumours. Rebecca Stevens reports from Seattle as one of the first patients undergoes this pioneering genetic surgery. But first to the forests of Germany, where Shahnaz Pakravan has discovered how to make $1 million from one of the world's most expensive delicacies.
They say that money doesn't grow on trees, but it can grow under them. A foot underground, nurtured by the roots of oak trees, lies the ultimate cash crop.
A truffle may, on the face of it, be an oversized, wrinkled and smelly sort of fungus, but gourmets go positively gooey about its nutty or is it earthy taste, so much so that they're prepared to pay over £1,000 for a kilogram. But finding this delicacy is a devilishly difficult thing, even if you've got a trained pig to help you. But why rely on the whims of nature and the noses of animals? Why not grow your own? You'd make a fortune.
Well, it isn't from lack of trying. People have toiled in vain to farm this exclusive nibble since the 17th century. But then came Kurdish scientist Dr. Azad Khanaka. He's triumphed where all others have failed. After 14 years of hard graft in his Hanover laboratory, he's discovered a 3-step process for growing wealth. Step 1 is to culture the spores, the fungal equivalents of seeds. This is where all other attempts have failed. You see, truffles only grow on the roots of certain trees, but the nutrients the trees provide to make the spores grow into truffles have always been a mystery. Not anymore. At least, not to Dr. Khanaka.
So, Dr. Khanaka, what do you feed these spores? How do they grow?
Oh, that's my secret. I can't tell you. Excuse me.
But presumably there's some connection with oak tree extract.
No, I don't tell you because that's my secret. Because that's my...
Well, his reluctance is understandable. I mean, why give away a license to grow money? He was less cagey about step 2, though. Since truffles only grow on the roots of trees, the next stage in Khanaka's process is attaching the spores to young oaks. Once in contact with the roots, the specially cultured spores embed themselves into the root system, and then the whole tree goes on to step 3. The greenhouse. Here, the young saplings take it easy while the truffles develop. After a few months, the first future delicacies are already apparent. At this stage, you can buy these trees to grow your own truffles. That way, Khanaka keeps his secret safe and pockets 100 Deutschmarks. That's 50 quid every tree. Now, let's see. There's 30,000 pots in here, so that's £1.5 million.
Okay, so once you've got it outside, how long does it take to grow into a tree before you can actually pick the truffles?
3 years. After 3 years, and you get the truffle.
3 years? I wanted proof now. So Dr. Khanaka took me to his own private truffle patch.
Just one truffle.
Well, there it was, truffles on demand. But what would the gourmets think? I put it to an expert nose belonging to Master Chef Heinrich Stern at one of Hanover's fanciest restaurants, the Georgenhof.
Zwar riecht nicht wie ein Perigord-Trüffel, aber es ist eben auch eine andere Art und es ist ein wunderschöner Trüffelgeruch.
You taste?
Yes.
Is it good?
It's really good.
You like it?
I like it.
So, it's a big thumbs up for farmed truffle. But whatever next? Test tube caviar?
Truffles, Mark. The old truffle shuffle. Now, we've had these before, haven't we? We've had the truffles before.
We have had these before. I think we covered it in our episode 28, didn't we?
Yes, episode 28, the 25th of November 1976. So
Yeah.
the full, well, not full, 19 years before this. So
Jesus Christ, that doesn't seem nearly enough time between.
doesn't,
That's disgusting.
No.
Oh, wash your mouth out, you filthy bastard.
But
oh my God.
Yeah, in that one, I believe it was Willy Wooly in France, wasn't it? Cooking up some sort of gourmet truffle dish. It was a similar thing as this. It's the dream of all gourmands and chefs. The idea that
it is the gourmand's frustration that truffles are difficult to find and they're difficult to kind of artificially grow.
Yes, yeah. So it's sort of the holy grail of whatever the posh word for mushroom farming is. The holy grail of whatever that is. What would it be called? Mycoculture? Probably mycoculture, isn't it? Yeah. The holy grail of that, to be able to grow truffles on demand. And many have tried it, many have failed. This man has come along. He's a Kurdish man whose name I can't quite catch because...
No, I couldn't.
I think Shahnaz has got a Persian background, so she's probably saying his name absolutely correctly.
Yeah, correct.
But unfortunately, that means I can't quite understand what she's saying.
Now, I know some Kurdish people, so I also had a go because I know the pronunciations, and no form of words plus truffle came up with anything. So apologies.
They're based in Hanover, and it sounds a bit like she's saying Hanover, but sort of like saying Hanover or something like that. But anyway, doesn't really matter. And they don't give him. They don't. Unlike everybody else in this program, they don't give him. They don't put his name up on the screen. So maybe nobody actually got his name. There might be a reason.
Hadn't thought about that. Yeah,
there might be a reason for that. But So Shahnaz is out in the woods. She's in Germany, and as I said, near Hanover. She then goes to visit this Kurdish man to go into his secret lab, which is, of course, Mark, beautifully dark with some nice coloured...
Stunningly lit.
Yeah, stunningly with some red-coloured lighting.
Red and green gelled lighting in an otherwise dark lab space. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And he's got his...
It is the Proustian ideal of any lab, as we've long agreed.
He's got this secret process whereby he can somehow get the spores, implant them into oak tree saplings, and then he's got a big greenhouse... And his mates out there spraying them all. He's growing them. He's got a whole greenhouse full of saplings. Yep. He's going to flog, and then people can all grow. Everybody can grow their own oak tree with its truffles on it. He reckons it will only take 3 years to get an oak tree that will grow truffles on it. Which I mean, my understanding of oak trees is they take a little bit longer than that to grow. I mean, from little acorns, mighty oaks grow, Mark. But
but not in 3 years, right?
Not in 3 years, as far as I'm aware.
Otherwise, I've grossly misunderstood that analogy.
Yeah, and then to demonstrate how great his thing is, he takes her out to a small patch of mud in a forest, and they just sort of like rake around in the mud for a little bit, and it's like
it's right there, isn't it?
Like they've,
it's basically jumps up into their hand.
Yeah. It's like that old Smith's Crisp advert with all the singing, with all the singing potatoes.
Spuds. Yeah, it's like cute little potatoes.
Yeah. They're all jumping out there. Yeah. So they absolute plethora of these things. She pulls a particularly juicy one out, big juicy shiny one, which looks nothing like any truffle I've ever seen before in my life. But we'll come back to that.
Yep.
Takes it to one of the smartest chefs in Hanover in his posh restaurant, who looks to me like a bit like David Bellamy, I would say.
I thought he looked like Karl Marx.
But a big man, obviously clearly likes testing his dishes as he goes. He gives it a sniff.
Well, I've discussed with you before, Russ. You know I've mentioned this before, probably both in private and on recordings. I like my successful chefs to fall into two camps. I like the stick-thin whippet who clearly never puts weight on because they're so stressed out by their career that it all dries up. Or... like this guy, you want the one who looks like they're getting high in their own supply, don't you? Yeah, that's it. No one else, nothing in between, please.
Right. And he gives it a sniff. He says, it smells a little bit different, but I'll give it a go anyway. And then, make some sort of fancy asparagus dish.
It's a white asparagus dish with not even shavings of truffle. He's actually weirdly he presented them like they were mushrooms.
Yes,
which kind of made me slightly curious because truffles aren't normally dished up like they're sliced mushrooms.
No, because that'd probably taste a bit too strong, wouldn't it? I don't know.
It would be mind blowing. It would also be freaking expensive.
Yeah,
but yes. It's normally shavings or infusions or stuff like that, and oil or whatever.
Imagine there's a plate of asparagus that big and that much truffle on it.
Yeah.
Imagine how
Oh
strongly
my
your
God.
wee is going to smell. That's going to be the most pungent wee known to man. Although Germans probably like that, don't they? You know what they're like.
They probably do. Well, they like checking what they've done, right? So I suppose it's reassuring.
They could check what they've done in the dark that way. Anyway, and but he gives it a seal of approval. He says, "Yeah, no, this is decent stuff. This is good stuff." And so we're led to believe that this Kurdish scientist has cracked it. He's got the secret to everything. So, I mean, as you probably could tell by the way that I've just related that, alarm bells were ringing all the way through that piece, Mark, to me.
Of course, it's amber flags everywhere, right?
It's red flags, absolutely everywhere. So I thought, well, that's just interesting. So, but I thought I'll treat him like an honest man. I'll just start researching. I'll try and work out what type of truffle it is first of all, because I've never seen. Because to me, whenever I've seen truffles before, they're much knobblier than that. Like the exterior is more knobbly, and then the interior is sort of multicoloured. Like sort of, it's got like wavy multicoloured stuff in it. A bit like I've put a table of all of the truffle types at the bottom there. You can see, you know what I mean. Yeah. Like it's like marble. It was almost like marbled meat.
Yeah.
And the exterior is pretty knobbly, a bit like whatever that. Was it a light cheese like that? The exterior.
Yeah. Or let's be honest, like a lot of chocolate truffles. Yes. That's where they come from, right? They're not quite as spherical as that, but actually, light cheese is a pretty good shout. Yeah. Some of them often look like nuts.
Yes,
kind of walnuts or something like that. But but they're always, as you say, you cut into them and they always have marbled effect.
Yeah. Whereas this one that old David Bellamy was cutting into was pure white flesh, and the exterior,
it looks like a mushroom.
The exterior reminded me of a well seared piece of barbecued meat to the one that Shahnaz is holding up, didn't it? And I was looking at life, and then I was browsing truffles, and I found, and if you go to the next picture down, I went, boom! Look at that.
That's it. Oh yeah,
that is it, isn't it? That
that's
exterior that looks like barbecued meat, yeah.
Yep.
Right, Mark. Well, so that isn't that. Well, that is what's known as a kamar or desert truffle, right?
Desert truffle.
Desert truffle. Yeah. So this is some blurb about the kamar or desert truffle. The kamar truffle refers to a desert truffle found in parts of the Middle East, particularly in Iraq. The name kamar is used for a type of wild desert truffle that grows in the arid regions and is highly prized for its unique flavour and texture. These truffles are not true truffles like those found in temperate regions, but they belong to the same family of fungi. They grow underground and are harvested primarily after rainfalls in desert areas. Kamar truffles are known for their earthy, nutty flavour and aroma, which is often compared to that of traditional European truffles, but with a distinct regional twist. So they primarily grow in Iraq, Mark. And this scientist is it's Kurdish, and
he says Kurdish, which
remind me where is Kurdistan again? I've just
now, Russ. I mean, the weird thing is it doesn't quite exist in a formal setting, but I suppose I'd have to say it would be the Iraq, Iran, Turkish-ish area of Persia, right?
Yeah. It's funny that, isn't it? Yeah.
I was intrigued by the fact that he was introduced as a Kurdish scientist.
Yes. Yeah. So this bloke he's flogging dodgy truffles, basically, Mark. But obviously, he's still selling truffles. But I thought, I wonder what the price difference is between.
Oh yeah, do tell.
Between a desert truffle and a European proper truffle. So a desert truffle, because as we've already mentioned, they are no more difficult to harvest than potatoes. They often do just pop above the soil, right? As opposed to having to get a pig or a dog to find them, you know.
Yep.
So they sell for between 20 and 60 euros a kilo, right?
20 to 60 euros a kilo, okay.
A black truffle, which is obviously the specialty of the French.
Yep.
That's 600 euros a kilo.
Yep.
And the white truffle, which is the Italian specialty, is 3,500 euros a kilo.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to grow those, you need an oak tree that is between 5 to 10 years old. They wouldn't grow on a 3-year-old oak tree. So he's not selling actual truffles, and the ones he is selling are much cheaper. But there's still money to be made. There's still money to be made. I mean, 30 to 60 euros is a kilo is not to be sniffed at, especially considering how easily they grow.
But that's not how he's making his money, Russ.
He's making his money selling the
oak tree saplings.
Yes, the saplings, yes.
At apparently £50 a pop.
Yes, yeah. But he's selling them, and he's purporting that they're growing in the forests of Hanover. Yes, around Hanover. However, I looked up where you can these desert truffles can grow, and obviously the clue's in the name, Mark.
I mean, all over Germany, it seems, right? The arid,
the
arid desert of
Kalahari,
Germany.
Syria, Azerbaijan, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Israel, the Sahara, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Libya, Spain, Greece, or Cyprus. I don't recall there being many deserts in Germany.
No, I was there a couple of years ago. It wasn't as sandy as I expected. I will give you that.
So, this man's just a complete con man.
I have to. This, yeah. I think I even call him a fraudster in my notes. Yeah. It's the weird thing is it's clear. It just I'm not a fan of Tomorrow World segments where they tell you about something but then explicitly say they can't tell you about something.
Yes, yeah.
Or they're not told.
Yeah, because he won't tell you his recipe at all, will he?
He won't tell you. It's a secret.
Yeah.
It's a secret. Why would he tell you? He's earning a fortune off it. It's a secret. It's like Tomorrow's World. I know we have a trope that we always like to tick, which is, suspiciously obvious brand on the ad-free BBC. Tomorrow's World genuinely, normally, is not an advert. It is supposed to be explained to you some new innovation of engineering or computer science that could make a positive contribution to society, right? And some, obviously this doesn't quite fall into the category of nuclear fission reactors, but it's still interesting. But the fact that they can't tell you, or he won't tell us, means that this should never have gone as far as it does. No. And then once, I think the few times we've had that where somebody refuses to explain, but they're still showing the segment, I think you and I have always had the same instinct, which is something's up. Ain't nothing good coming out of this. And then you have never shocked me by saying, actually, Mark, as it happens, this genuinely was. And it's always, always, always grift.
Yes.
And red flag, right? And this absolutely fits, because he's not selling the truffles. He's selling the device to enable the truffles, i.e. you get to take home specially propagated oak tree, which has secret truffles on the inside, and in 3 years' time, you're going to be truffle-rich son.
Yeah. In 3 years' time, he's going to be living it up in Barbados or something, isn't he?
Long gone. Yeah, exactly correct. He is out of there. Well, back to his truffle dunes of Kurdistan or whatever.
I mean, that is genius, isn't it? Having a con that has a lead time of 3 years is fantastic.
Yeah.
But
it's ever so smart.
But are the Tomorrow's World people credulous? Or do they just not care because it's television anyway? Who cares? It's just make television. Doesn't matter.
It's a fun story that I know, because it's really well presented, like visually presented. Like I think it must have been fun to make. It looks good on TV. There's a really lovely match cut that Shahnaz holds the truffle in her hand, and then it cuts to the same hand, and there's coins, and she drops it. Like it's edited in a really, really satisfying way. Pfennigs, I knew Deutschmark. I put down Deutschmark, so you're right, they were Deutschmarks and Pfennigs, weren't they? Pfennigs with the pennies to our pound, right? Yeah, it is, yeah. God, the things we've lost, right? The things we've lost. It's really well done, and even Karl Marx / David Bellamy as a chef is fun, although it's a very unappetizing looking meal in the way that I really do enjoy going to Germany.
Yeah, their meals always look unappetizing. They've got terrible.
But their meals are consistently, absolutely, definitely. And the weird thing about it is that it's the same meal everywhere in the country. There is no regional variation whatsoever. It's like, it is kind of impressive, actually, how little variation there is in the diet. And people around the world have the audacity to complain about Britain. It's one of those things where I would not be shocked if, as we continue auditing episodes in and around this, we find that there's a bank of 5 or 6 stories they all filmed when they were in Germany.
Yes, yeah.
And that this just happened to be one of them, and we're landing on it today. But this is unacceptable because this
should be on Watchdog.
Yeah. Did the Watchdog theme tune have lyrics like Points of View?
I can't even remember it actually.
No.
All I can think of is Crime Watch now. Because that's got watching it. Anyway, well,
I see what you've done there. Russ,
well, that's one con man brought down.
Is there another one later on? How exciting!
There is a slight undercurrent of grift in this episode, I must say, Mark. Yeah, shall we see?
Okay, cool.
Well, not in this next one though. This is pure schmaltz.
Wholesome schmaltz.
Now, Glioblastoma is one of the most persistent and aggressive forms of cancer. It attacks the brain, inevitably leading to death, often within 2 months. In an effort to try and treat this terrible illness, surgeons are now turning to gene therapy, the manipulation of genes inside cells. The idea is to use gene therapy to target and destroy the cancerous cells, and already the results have been astonishing. Rebecca Stevens reports from Seattle, where this life-saving surgery is being pioneered. As you might expect, we will show this extraordinary operation in some detail.
About a year ago, February, started having bad headaches, and my equilibrium was thrown off, and I started running into stuff with my left side. I don't know, I thought it was one thing, and then I thought it was something else. They checked me out for this and that, and finally one day my regular doctor said, "Oh, we better do a CAT scan on you." He called me that afternoon and said, "You have a brain tumor."
It was the worst news possible for Eric Eichler. A rapidly growing glioblastoma tumour meant he wouldn't have long to live.
Glioblastoma is the most malignant brain cancer in existence in adults. It virtually creates a death sentence for anybody who gets this disease. It is incurable in its present form in terms of how we treat it. And until recently, we really had no hope for these patients with this dreaded disease.
Eric's tumour was removed, but as feared, it soon grew back. Then, with only 8 weeks left to live, he and his family received a lifeline. Eric was offered a place on a trial for a revolutionary new treatment.
I was looking at what I figured was a terminal, no-hope situation, when suddenly I had an option of a potential cure. So it didn't really take me too much to make up my mind that I wanted to try it.
7 months later, to the delight of family and friends, Eric is still very much alive and recovering fast. He's one of the first patients in the world to undergo a new type of treatment that exploits the exciting new field of gene therapy. A glioblastoma tumour grows rapidly, destroying the brain as it goes. Standard treatment is to cut the tumour out, but it's impossible to remove every trace. Even after radiation and chemotherapy, tiny specks of the cancer will eventually grow to form a new tumour. Gene therapy is designed to stop this regrowth in its tracks. First, the site of the removed tumour is flooded with a virus taken from infected mouse tissue that will only infect remaining cancer cells. The virus genetically alters the cells, making the cancer vulnerable to a potent antiviral drug. Some weeks later, the drug is injected, killing the cancer. 3 weeks ago, the 6th patient in this trial came here for the first stage of her treatment. That was to actually remove the tumour from the brain and to implant the infected mouse cells. Dorothy Cordell's glioblastoma was following the usual pattern. She had already had the first tumour removed, but now it was regrowing, eating into the part of her brain that controls muscle movement, causing headaches and paralysis. As with Eric, her last hope was gene therapy. First, Mitchell Berger had to cut deep into Dorothy's brain to remove the regrown tumour. It eventually revealed itself as a brown mass of unhealthy cells. The hope was that this would be the last time a deadly tumour had to be removed from Dorothy's brain.
Yeah. Just cut across that. Right, there's tumor there. Okay, so...
This milky liquid contains the mouse cells, which are key to the genetic treatment. Already the virus is multiplying inside them, and once injected into Dorothy's brain, the virus will seek out and infect any cancerous cells.
cc's total.
What makes this treatment so well suited for fighting brain cancer is that the virus can only infect multiplying cells. The brain is an unusual organ in that it stops growing by the age of 5, so the only cells that could be multiplying in Dorothy's brain are the tumour cells. They alone will take up the virus that will eventually lead to their destruction. Dorothy now has 3 weeks to recover until the next stage of her gene therapy.
Waking up, Dorothy. Everything's fine.
Today, Dorothy's come in for the second part of her treatment. Now, by this stage, the virus should already have infected all the tumour cells still growing in her brain, making them susceptible to the drug ganciclovir. In just a few moments, she's going to have the first infusion of that drug, which the doctors hope will kill the cancer once and for all. Once Dorothy has received a full course of the drug, the long wait begins to see if the treatment will have saved her life. As with Eric, the illness and the treatment have both left their mark, but at last they have a fighting chance. It'll be a year or so before Dorothy can be sure that her treatment has been a success, though everyone here is optimistic, as they are about the trials as a whole. The very fact that the results have been as good or better than could be expected has drawn incredible interest from hospitals around the world. And by the end of the year, it's hoped there'll be similar trials underway in Europe.
As a physician and surgeon, I've struggled so long with this disease, and we've made so little progress. To actually be involved in this at this point is terribly exciting. And I'm very optimistic for patients and their families who get this disease in the future.
It seems that gene therapy may have achieved what was once thought impossible, and Eric's courage may have paved the way for thousands more to benefit from this remarkable treatment.
Well, I'm glad I did it, and it's getting close to the end. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel a little bit, but it's been pretty tough.
Oh, Mark. New presenter.
I was going to say...
New presenter.
OMGRC, press the button to launch the new presenter klaxon.
Oh, we should have a new... It's a bit late now. We should have had a new presenter noise, a sound effect, shouldn't we? Yeah.
Well, we just pretend we've always done it and play it right now.
Yeah, I wonder what I'll pick. Shall I do the presenter first or the student piece?
Yeah. Tell us all about Rebecca. Meet Rebecca.
Rebecca Stevens, MBE.
Oh.
Now I kind of recognised her. Do you recognise her, Mark?
I did recognise her, and also the slight speech impediment as well. I did recognise her.
Yeah, but I feel like we've kind of buried the lead there because, well, we'll get into it. First of all, born in October 1961, which means she's 34 here, 64 now. And I obviously assume she's very posh.
Very posh.
But actually...
Quite posh.
She went to Tunbridge Girls' Grammar School.
She's a Tugs girl?
Yes, she's a Tugs girl, yes.
Yeah, that is quite posh.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not...
I mean, not to us, but in general, Tugs is quite posh.
It's not public
No.
school.
No.
Ooh,
I don't know. She's a Tugs girl. Wow.
Yeah.
Some of our best friends were Tugs girls.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. So she originally trained as a journalist and was one for 10 years through the 80s. And she actually she worked for the FT and she worked for the Weekend magazine. And and when she was doing the Weekend magazine, she got invited on a trip to Everest Base Camp. So she went on that. And then she really got the mountaineering bug. She'd never been mountaineering before or anything like that. But she absolutely loved it. So in 1993, she became the first British woman to climb Mount Everest.
Wow, that's something, isn't it?
And then a year later, she became the first British woman to do the 7 summits, which is obviously, I'm sure you know, the tallest mountain on each continent.
Yeah.
How many of the 7 summits can you name? I've given you one.
Mont Blanc.
That's a possible one of them, but they don't use that because they go by continental plate rather than geographic.
So you're allowed Eurasia.
So you're allowed Russia. So there's a taller mountain in Russia.
Okay. Mount Washington.
No. What about Africa? Can you get African one? African one's easy.
Kilimanjaro.
Yes, Kilimanjaro is one of them. Yeah. And then the only other one you'll get possibly is South America.
No, what?
It's Aconcagua in Argentina.
No, I don't know that one.
Yeah, so you got Kilimanjaro, Denali in Alaska.
Where is that? Let me see if I can climb that.
Yeah, you're going to Argentina.
Yeah, we're
going to Argentina. They're the enemy, Mark. especially after the other day.
Well, we decided, we were chatting today, so we're going to go and piss on all their shit, Ross. That's what we're going to do.
Stoving all their shop windows.
Well, look, they haven't won the World Cup yet, so we're cheering on Spain at the weekend. So yeah, we'll just go wrapped in the yellow and red of Spain.
Okay, good. Right. Anyway, Kilimanjaro, Africa. Denali, Alaska, North America.
Oh, of course. I hadn't thought about
Everest,
Alaska.
as I've already said, for Asia.
Yeah.
Elbrus for Russia.
Okay.
And this is the order she did them in as well. Carsten's Pyramid, which these days is called Puncak Jaya, which is in Indonesia.
Okay.
Then it's Aconcagua in Argentina. And then she polished it all off with Vincent Massif in Antarctica.
Okay.
I suppose you do the Antarctica one last because that's the one you're most likely to die on. I don't know. You want to get them all out of the way before you at least do 6.
Well, it's either you do that one first, get that one out of the way, right? So where does Scarfell Pike fit into that list?
I don't know. I suppose if you did like a really granular one where you did the tallest mountain on every...
So you did a 3-piece challenge. You did it in 24 hours. I bet you she didn't do hers in 24 hours.
No, she didn't. Well, I think she did it in 4 months, I think, which is pretty impressive, I think.
Does she walk between them? Unbelievable.
But she had to rush. She had to rush the last 4 because some other British woman had started to do it as well. And her sponsors wouldn't have paid out if she actually comes second. So she had to gallop up the last 4.
That seems like a recipe for disaster. So let's be grateful that she dodged a bullet there.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Well done, her.
Yeah. And then she came back in 1994, immediately became a Tomorrow's World presenter. So she presented between 94 and 96. Other TV programmes she's been on, Mark. Blue Peter, obviously. She's absolutely perfect Blue Peter fodder, isn't she?
Yeah.
Call My Bluff.
And was it still going then? Jeez.
No, this was in the 90s. She was in these. She was on this.
Oh, they call my sorry, not the Robert Robertson one.
And the keyhole. The keys are there.
Naturally.
So
David, it's over to you.
Since then, she's still doing the treks. Plenty of exotic treks she's been doing around the world. She's also been back to Antarctica 3 more times. She's done 2 different Ernest Shackleton commemorative treks around Antarctica, 2001, 2014.
Which ironically is 2 more than he did?
Yeah. But these days, Mark, she's doing that classic Tomorrow's World
media training.
Sort of sports person thing of public speaking, business consultancy. She's director of 7 Summits Performance, basically.
Okay,
and this is what it says. Rebecca draws on her experiences in extreme and often hostile mountain environments to deliver inspirational keynote addresses and masterclasses to business audiences around the world, sharing insights into leadership, motivation, teamwork, communication, decision-making, and risk. Because it's obviously the worlds of business and the climbing mountains are so similar, Mark.
Exactly the same, Russ.
They can transpose the 2 over the top of each other.
Yeah.
I've got a theory. I have got a hastily put together theory about this. As I was researching this, I was thinking about this.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking about why is it always like Olympians and stuff like that? And I was thinking is it because business people deep down fundamentally they know their job is pretty pointless and their life is pretty empty. So if they have this person who comes in who's actually achieved these amazing things and who stands up in front of them and says, actually, we're not so different, you and I. What we're doing is actually very similar. Yeah. It's it gives them validation. And they think, basically, that deal I did last week is pretty much the same as climbing Mount Everest. The
Olympian comes in and pretends to hold up a mirror. And, absolutely. Look at us.
Yeah.
Peers we are. Yeah. That's a really good shout. Yeah. Some kind of pathetic way of pretending to validate yourself. Okay, yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
not least because it has the added benefit of just aligning with our preconceived biases. So yeah.
We should do some motivational speaking, Mark. We should.
To be honest, I think we would be good. Do you think? But we'd have to pass it in a way where people bought into our withering patronising of the people who are sitting in front of us, right?
All you have to do then is just direct the ire to a third target. Because nothing brings people together like teaming up against somebody else, isn't it? That's
absolutely. Yeah. You pick the weakest chap in the room and you other them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of the weakest chap in the room, old Eric. This piece here, old what's his name? Eric Eichler. Eric Eichler.
Yeah.
It's another maudlin, plinky plonky music, sad medical piece. Mark, our least favourite of all the Tomorrow's World segments.
I'm going to say up front what I think I said last time. I'm genuinely pleased for Eric and for Dorothy. I'm an empathetic person. I'm delighted for them and their family and their friends that the difficult time they were going through, they were afforded the opportunity to take advantage of this therapy. I don't know whether it's successful or not. I'll find out in a minute. But at least it gave them hope and it gave them an optimistic outlook at an otherwise difficult time. That being said, I really hate these segments. Yeah. At least the public health ones, often led by in-studio presentation, feel like they serve some kind of direct purpose. And as boring as we find them, there's often, I think you and I have often recognized the value in them. These kind of Americanized modeling, as you say, segments, they just leave me cold. And do you know what? It makes me feel like I'm a dreadful person, which is why I want to say up front, I'm delighted for the Eichler family. That does sound like you're... we are going to Argentina, so I'm sure we'll meet some other Eichlers out there as well. But
some Eichmans as well.
Yeah. No, they dropped the on their way on the ship over, right? Anyway, sorry. This is just really, I don't know. I just find it unentertaining and unimpressive. And the other thing is, I swear, and I looked and I looked and I looked.
I know exactly the piece you mean.
Notes. You know what I mean? But I couldn't find the episode. But we saw another one of these around the same time, around the kind of the Clinton era, of another guy who was unwell and kind of surprisingly unwell, like one of those kind of like I was fine and then I wasn't, and he was also young, and in a way like Eric Eichler and like a lot of American men, you are shocked to find out he's in his 30s because he looks like he's in his 50s. Yeah. They dress badly, they look weird. He was also kind of, something happened to him and there was some kind of magical medical intervention, and I'd swear it was also the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I can picture him in my head. Yeah.
You can see him.
Yeah,
I could not for the life of me look through, and I looked through every date that kind of matched up to find it, and even did some searches, and nothing came back. Probably because it probably represents the disrespect we treat these segments that we barely wrote anything that's searchable.
Yeah.
But it almost felt like, again, a bit like the possible kind of Truffle segment we just had there. Is like they went somewhere and banked a few of these. Yeah. I don't think they did necessarily, but yeah.
It's always the poor, whoever the poor ill person is, kind of like meandering around their front yard while their kids play around them. And then
with
the
stick.
That
guy
plays.
was in a playground, wasn't he? He was in a playground pushing his kids on
the same old
swing.
Rubbish.
It's all the same. It's the same old shtick.
Yeah.
And the one thing they don't. And with this one, I was thinking, because we've now seen two of these, it was also that kind of sense of like, in both cases, these are, and I will use the American use of middle class as in to say these are working class families. You do what phenomenal debt they're left in by whatever intervention.
Although because
has happened to them,
because it's a super experimental,
it might be
it's probably free.
Yeah. They volunteer for it, but still, nonetheless.
Eric, when I first see him, he's got a baseball cap on. I thought he looked like Cliff Clavin from Cheers.
Yeah.
But then when the baseball cap comes off, takes years off him, and he suddenly looks a bit like Paul Waterhauser, I think, the actor.
Yeah.
But then it's a bit of a lookalike fest, because then we cut to Mitchell Berger, the brain surgeon who's gonna fix Eric, and he's the absolute spitting image of Mark Ruffalo, isn't he? Do you think?
Yeah. I thought that was a pretty good, solid spot.
So I obviously looked up Mitchell Berger. He's clearly some sort of prestigious brain surgeon. He's got to still be around, isn't he? And he is. And I've got a picture of him down the bottom. And I've never seen anybody stop looking like Mark Ruffalo so much in the world.
So quickly.
He looks nothing. Look at him now.
No, it's astonishing. He
looks like
he looks like Lloyd quality.
He looks like oh yes, he has got Christopher Lloyd. I was thinking he looked like Abe Vigoda, the actor who's in The Godfather and Cannibal Run 2. Yeah. With the big chin. God, I don't know where that chin came from.
What's the opposite to a glow up?
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, he is tippity-toppity of the...
Is he proper? Is he legit?
He's tippity-toppity. He's on what's called the President's Cancer Panel. There are only 3 cancer specialist on the president's cancer panel. He reports directly to the president. It was set up by...
Which, by the way, in normal times, that would be an impressive thing to say.
Well,
but at the moment, that's slightly less impressive.
The panel was set up by your pal, Dickie Nixon, in 1971.
Oh, cutting edge.
Yeah.
Tell you,
and what's
edge.
interesting is actually old Mitchell here was appointed by Biden, but he's managed to survive. He's not been sacked by Trump. But then I was thinking, that's probably because even Trump is aware that he could possibly need a cancer expert.
True. He might require something down the line.
Yeah. So he's only going to get rid of things that doesn't affect him, isn't he? So he's basically one of the top 3 cancer people in America. So old Eric's in good hands. Obviously, I couldn't find out what happened to Eric.
No.
But then there's Dorothy as well, isn't there, in this? And actually, when I first watched this, I didn't realise that they'd switched to Dorothy. I just thought it was Eric. They just shaved Eric.
Including his moustache.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought,
sorry, Eric, you got to get rid of the tash, boy.
Because when I first watch it, I don't tend to listen to what they say. I just tend to watch it, just like taking the images, and then I listen the next time around. So then we actually see Dorothy in surgery. They cut her. It's actually quite graphic, isn't it? It's a pretty graphic.
It's really graphic.
It looks like
Carol Vorderman, bless her, gives a warning, and initially I kind of blew that off. I'll be the judge. It's like, oh wow, they really do get up on there.
Yeah,
as you said, it really does look like a scene from Alien. You were not exaggerating.
It does. Yeah. So we see them actually just chop out a chunk of manky old brain tissue.
Very unpleasant. Yeah, it's very unpleasant.
Get shown that. I mean, it looks a bit like a little underdeveloped truffle, really. Yeah, when that comes out,
it does.
Yeah. And then she hopefully recovers. And that's basically the segment, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gene therapy. That's what we forgot to mention. It's gene therapy. So
yeah.
They're not just doing surgery. The idea is that. And I only really understood this when I started reading about it. They've basically genetically altered a virus, which then they're putting in the brain. And because brain cells don't reproduce, because once your brain's made, it's made. It doesn't need to reproduce. But cancer cells obviously love reproducing. So if you put a virus in the brain, only the cancer cells are reproducing the virus. So the idea is it kills the virus. And that's basically the essence of what they're actually doing there. And then actually, I found this is actually genuinely quite interesting. So the thing they've got is called neuroblastoma, which to me sounds like a science fiction gun because it's got blast in it.
Yeah.
Oh, you've picked up the neuroblastoma. Almost only affects children up to the age of 5. So, poor old Eric and Dorothy here are super, super rare. It only affects like 1 in 10 million adults. So that's probably that's why they're getting these super special treatment. No one's really sure what causes it, but they think it probably migrates from the adrenal gland and then gets in the brain and then causes all the trouble. But this process that they're doing here, this gene therapy process, the changing the viruses things, the viruses they create are called oncolytic viruses, as in they destroy cancer. And this field is still a very, very sort of nascent field. There's been a few different ones that they've done. There's a handful of different ones that they've tried, but it's a very exciting sort of area of study because basically what they do is they find the best virus for the job. They slightly change its genetics to turn it into like a specialized killer virus, stick it in someone, it goes in, kills the cancer, and then job's done. So in theory, you could have a situation where you had a whole raft of different viruses that were all trained to kill different cancers. But what I really liked about this one, the one they use here, is that the virus that they use is good old fashioned herpes, Mark.
Oh, how
they
fun!
They retrain herpes because as any sort of anybody who gets cold sores like I do would know. Cold sores are very tingly because the virus actually lives in your nerve, inside your nerve cells.
Yeah, so I understand.
That's why it's all tingly. It did make me think. The reason I know I'm getting a cold sore is that my lip starts tingling. And then equally, the reason I know coleslaw is going off is when it gets fizzy. That's a weird connection, isn't it? I was thinking about that as I was writing it.
Wow. I was just, as you said that, I was just thinking is Spider-Man just made of herpes? Is that why he can feel crime or something?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Herpes man.
I've never had a cold sore. I've never had a cold sore, but the way people describe it, it does. It's always one. The thing is, though, not connected to that, but it's like I think everyone has something every now and then. It's like I can smell illness on people. I can smell a stickiness or like a sweet stickiness at times, and I can smell, and like it always is like one of those things where sometimes you can just sense something is coming. But yeah, I'm aware that a cold sore, I think, is like you know it's coming before it comes. I suppose arguably, by the time you know it's coming, it's there, right? It just hasn't. Yeah. So herpes. Gosh. Yeah. Okay, that's fascinating.
So obviously the great thing about herpes. But I mean, the thing with herpes is obviously there's lots of viruses you could try, but obviously lots of them are actually quite dangerous. So you don't want to be mucking around with them. The worst thing you can give this person is a cold sore. So I mean, that's on balance curing my brain tumor.
It's okay.
Or a cold sore.
Versus
So no, it's a literal no-brainer, Mark. So hooray for herpes! I'm saying. Turns out everything has its upside.
It's fabulous, isn't it?
But yeah, I mean, the upshot of it is, at some point in the far future, we could have cured cancer using what were previously our worst enemies, the viruses. So that's something exciting to look forward to, isn't it?
I'm really excited now. Yeah. I mean, the fact that this show was broadcast 31 years ago means that like it's a slow development. But I'm optimistic.
Yeah, but it's always the same with all of these medical things. They take so long to get approved. But anything else to say about that?
No, I think that was everything, wasn't it?
Right. Let's wind down with some thrilling computer games, shall we?
Yeah.
Now, over the last 10 years, computer games have become big business. The predicted global market for 1995 is an astonishing £10 billion. That figure is set to increase. So not surprisingly, the manufacturers are going to extraordinary lengths to offer more exciting games. Howard Stableford has been to visit the set where an entire film crew is working on what will be the next generation of computer games.
It turns out that reality is important. If you don't believe me, ask the multimillionaire electronics whiz kids who design computer games. They know that to keep us shelling out on their latest piece of software, they need to blur the boundaries of game and reality. Well, here in North London, real people from Hollywood are busy blurring boundaries never blurred before to create a state-of-the-art computer game.
Rolling, and lights, and action. And cut.
The computer programmer's assault on reality began in 1973 with a game called Pong.
You ready, Jen? Play.
Yes, not much chance of confusing the real world with the electronic world there. Although I seem to remember at the time it mesmerized millions of pubgoers all around the country for hours. Well, now there's a new generation of computer games. They're called interactive films, and they actually do try to capture some aspects of real life. The most sophisticated of these games have real people in computer-generated backgrounds. Each scene is shot with several possible endings, and the player decides which ending to take.
I'm impressed.
Now it's always moment by moment in the cockpit.
Are we going to expand upon that moment? Are we going to kick in the afterburners here?
Oh boy, kiss her. It would never work with her.
I think the choice is obvious. But these games suffer the same limitations as a normal movie. You can't get really involved, get right in there and wander around with the actors as you might want to. Well, that's the problem they're trying to crack right here. In this specially created location, a computer games company is taking the whole thing a stage further by creating a new system that allows you to walk right round the characters in the game. They're filming the actors here against a circular blue wall. It's called a blue screen process and allows the actors to be electronically pasted into any background chosen. Concealed around the wall at regular intervals are 16 miniature cameras, allowing the actors to be filmed from all sides at once. Okay, this is how it'll work. I'm filmed doing my thing from 16 different angles. And then I'm chopped out of this blue background and I'm pasted into a computer-generated background. And in the final game, because I've been filmed from 16 different angles, the players can look at me from whichever angle they choose.
Yeah, I think interactive games are going to be the end of Hollywood. I do. Maybe not right away. It's going to take a little bit of time. They've got a head start, but I think they're going to give them a good run for their money, and I think that, we're going to surprise a lot of people.
To put this game together has cost about the same as a small feature film. Now, before you scoff at the ridiculous expense, I'd like to point out that a game called Donkey Kong, which I'm sure you're aware of, has so far made £370 million, which is more than twice as much as 4 weddings and a funeral. Not bad for a form of entertainment that started off with electronic ping pong.
So here's something quite exciting, right? What I find fascinating is like this episode can go one of two ways now, Ross. You highlighted an issue we've had. I was saying I always think it's really interesting when we are able to see something in an older episode that we ourselves have seen and covered in an earlier one. So in this particular instance, Howard is at a computer at a desk, and he's not really watching at the computer, but superimposed onto the screen is the segment we covered in a Christmas special of Tomorrow's World with Raymond Baxter playing Pong with his daughter in his house that's way too large. And you pointed out that's one of the very few times we've had an issue with the copyright infringement rules on YouTube, because Channel 4 blocked it because they used that segment in some kind of Christmas special that they did.
It was like the top 100 best Christmas presents or something like that. I can't remember what it was called now. But it is the most problematic...
One of those talking head things,
It's the most problematic clip
going, I remember.
Yes, the most problematic clip we've ever played. Because actually, listeners won't know this, but people on YouTube will. Anybody in the UK cannot watch our Christmas episode from whenever it was, because it's completely banned in the UK on YouTube, because it contains... clips of Tomorrow's World, which were, and it's not the BBC who did copyright striking this. It's Channel 4. So Channel 4 are claiming BBC content and then using that BBC content to prevent us from putting our stolen content.
Silencing us, Ross. They're silencing it. It's too hot for YouTube.
It's absolutely outrageous. Yeah. So if you are on YouTube, watching on YouTube, and there's a sudden jump in the video, that's because I've cut the bit of Raymond playing Pong out, because YouTube has attempted to ban us from the UK, and I'm not standing for it again. Obviously, I can't do it with the previous Christmas episode, because I'd have to basically chop out the entire thing, and it would make no sense. Yeah. So, yeah. And if you want to watch that Christmas episode that you've never seen, just get a VPN. I'm sure everyone in Britain's got a VPN now for certain reasons.
Why, Russ? Why would they have one of that?
Anyway, but it's computer games again, Mark. It's exciting. We wrote computer games quite recently, didn't we? We had Howard playing computer games in Japan.
Oh, yes, we did. Yeah.
There were quite a few of the similar type of computer games in that. We were looking at Night Trap, I think.
Yeah, FMV games, right?
Yes, the full motion video game, FMV.
Yeah.
I would consider the absolute worst type of computer game money can
buy.
Well,
it is. And it's not a phrase I like using. It is the proverbial ginger stepchild of computer games, right? I don't like them either.
No. I can understand them being exciting at the time, because you've never seen realistic graphics. You've never been able to play something with entirely realistic graphics before.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. But the gameplay wise, it's like it's no better than
it's point and click.
Choose your
own
not
adventure
fun.
Book. It's
really.
Yeah, exactly correct.
And we're shown footage from, to be fair, the game they show footage from is Wing Commander 3, which actually is a game. Well, is actually a space sim as well, but with FMV segments in it.
I suppose you might think of them as like playable cutscenes.
Yes, yeah. But I was very excited to look up the cast of Wing Commander 3. Wing Commander 3, Heart of the Tiger.
Yeah, well, we all know it for one guy and one guy only, right? I mean, the second I saw that, even though they say on the screen, it's like I didn't need to be told what it was. I knew instantly it was Wing Commander 3, because that was Mark Hamill.
Yeah, Mark Hamill there. He's been encouraged to either kiss or not kiss a former porn star called Ginger Lynn. I don't know whether you knew that was who that was.
Yeah, I did not know who that was. And I did think she didn't feel like an actress, but
yeah. And Howard seems to know the answer there, doesn't he?
Hence your comment.
Because doesn't he?
Right.
He goes.
Yeah.
Howard goes, I think the choice is obvious.
Yeah. See, I read that as Howard is a very straight-laced boy and would be declining.
Oh,
the
did you?
Yeah, I did. I genuinely, that's what I thought he meant, as opposed to I recognise a porn star everywhere. Which is what you're implying.
Well, no,
Sorry,
actually,
Howard.
I was just implying that Howard would take the opportunity given to him, whether it's porn star or not.
Oh, you and I hold Howard in very different levels of esteem, don't we?
But I just wanted to say about before we get into the piece, I just wanted to obviously Mark Hamill we recognised, and
yeah,
there's also some other people that we didn't see there, but it is a cavalcade of stars in that game.
Mm-hmm.
You've also got Malcolm McDowell.
Wow, yeah.
John Rhys Davis, obviously the
Wow,
star of
yeah.
Sliders.
Yeah. So true.
Tom Wilson, who played Biff in Back to the Future.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And last but not least, Tim Curry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I never really
turn up
enjoyed,
to the opening of an envelope.
Never really fancied the Wing Commander games, but I think I've had my my mind changed with that sort of that lineup.
Yeah, what a lineup.
Yeah. That sort of starts the piece, and then Howard's in the Roundhouse in
the Roundhouse in Camden. Yeah.
I had no idea that was never not always some sort of venue. I didn't realise.
An incredible music venue. I think it's one of London's best music venues. I've seen some incredible gigs there. It's a beautiful building to go to. So seeing it in '95, I can't remember the first time I went there. Must have been the late '90s, so it must have just bloody opened or something. Absolutely incredible. It looks like an abandoned building that they just happen to have access to.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, they're in there filming a new computer game. I couldn't work out what the game was. The game seemed to involve a lot of people in funny outfits walking towards the camera in a very strange manner.
It looks so effing cringy. It hurts.
Howard gets to have a go. He's dressed in this incredible sort of futuristic policeman's outfit. Is it a futuristic?
I wouldn't say
outfit?
futuristic. Well, it's more like it's more like it's a 1920s New York Cup in the winter, but with a weird Judge Dredd helmet.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, that's
gun.
what I thought it was Judge Dredd. I thought it was like
odd.
Judge Dredd in the winter or something. I don't know.
Oh, maybe it is. I suppose Judge Dredd. Well, I don't know. In the wastelands, it doesn't seem nuclear winter, right?
Yeah.
Hey.
But he gets and then they demonstrate the technology. It's just green screen basically. But what's exciting is they had like a proto bullet time thing where they had the cameras all taking a photo all around him, 360 degrees, so that theoretically you can sort of walk him around and you can see different sides of him. I think it's been quite jumpy because there wasn't that many cameras.
Oh well, there were 16 and 360 degrees, so you can imagine that there would have been quite the jump between them. Yeah.
And then we get to meet the director of this incredible production, Leo Sanchez Adega.
Hollywood director.
Right? Leo Sanchez Adega, who
I know you all know him.
I was racking my brains to who he looked like, and you absolutely nailed it. He looks like Gog from Peep Show. He looks. He really does look like him a lot. The long hair and sideburns sort of look.
And he has the same kind of slightly uncomfortable quality to him.
Yes, yeah.
Which is unfair. I'm sure Leo's a lovely guy.
Yeah. So he was my main. I wanted to track down who Leo was really. I found two people on IMDb with his name who I think are the same person because I think what's happened is that he's been entered with a hyphen in his name and then without a hyphen in his name. It's actually the same person. Not a huge career. The non-hyphen version has directed 2 music videos in 1990 for a goth rock band called The Mission, who it seemed like they were reasonably popular. I'd never heard of them, but they're basically they've got 2 members of Sisters of Mercy in them, so that must be pretty.
Oh, okay.
Must be pretty big with the old.
Maybe
goths.
that's why he was hanging out in Camden.
Yes, yeah. Good point, actually. Yeah. Is Camden still gothy? Is it,
a little bit, but I mean, I think the Devonshire Arms is still, or the Devonshire, isn't it? I think that's still like a nexus point, and the underworld still is the underworld. But obviously, the thing about Camden is that it's one of those weird things. Like we can look back and go like, well, the Camden we hung out was quite cool in indie, but obviously when we were hanging out in Camden in like 2003 and 2004, whatever, at that point people were like, oh, this is just a corporate sellout.
Yeah.
Hold my beer, said Camden.
Yeah. They were probably saying it in 1920, weren't they? Yeah.
Of course they were. Yeah. No, I think there are still goths who go there, which is cool. You know?
Yeah.
Cyberdog is still going, Ross.
I was genuinely about to ask that. Is Cyberdog?
Yeah. We walked to Camden about a month ago. Had a lovely Sunday stroll to Camden on the bank holiday weekend. Had some lovely beers, and we did walk by. We didn't go in, but we did walk by Cyberdog, and there was something reassuring. It's like one of those totemic things. You go like, oh, I'm glad that's still there, so I don't have to go into it.
Furry neon platform boots or something like that. You know.
Well, I mean, I would do, but I have to wait until the ones I have wear out. Not made of money.
Then there's the second Leo Sanchez Adega. We were pretty sure the same. Well, actually, I know it's the same person because I was able to do some detective work, and he's only got a project in development. Which is called Attack 808, which has only had computer generated concept art. I picked the best bit.
Oh. My God, is that what that is?
yeah. And it appears to be. It looked like a sort of Death Race 2000 type thing. It was like there was lots of cars racing and running over people and things like that. And then there was like a sort of a Ready Player One type environment with like a car approaching a futuristic city and things like that. But there was no other details than that.
That looks absolutely atrocious.
Yeah. So it took me to a website called Cuba Futura. Then I worked out what was going on. So Leo Sanchez Adega is a serial businessman who sets up businesses that don't go anywhere or don't seem to have any footprint. So Cuba Futura is just a website, or just one page on a website with like a very AI style generated, sort of like like Donald Trump likes to create AI images of, like he did with Gaza.
Him as Jesus.
Gaza, like he created like an AI.
Oh my God!
Where he's redeveloped Gaza into like a luxury resort.
Yeah,
it was like this, but for Havana. So but there was no details or anything. It was just a website. Then I found him on LinkedIn, and it says he's a children's entertainment developer who's got a company called Cuban West India Company based in Miami, and it was definitely him because there's a photo. And then the only other thing I found out about him was a BBC article from 2012 where he had a company which had run the first cargo ship in 50 years from Miami to Cuba, right? So what I'm saying, Mark, is there's this man who keeps setting up business enterprises that don't ever go anywhere.
Yeah.
He has access to shipping and he lives in Miami.
Yeah. Say no more, Ross.
Do any more dots need to be joined?
No more, Russ. No, I think it's just one big dot, right?
Yeah. So
okay, that's really curious.
That was interesting, wasn't it? Yeah. So it might be our second shady character of the episode. That's all I'm saying, Mark.
Let's not say that too loud. I'm sure he has friends.
Yeah. So full motion video games. I didn't realise you are aware of this apparently because Limmy plays them. They're still going. So
yeah.
I can't believe anybody still wants to play them. But I did. I looked up a few. I looked up like lists of the top 10 modern ones, and they've lost a bit of their appeal because they're like they're actually quite high quality cameras and stuff like that. They don't have that sort of and like the background.
Grainy,
their backgrounds aren't really shoddy.
Yeah.
They're not shoddily rendered backgrounds or anything like that. Actually,
no.
They're more like interactive movies sort of thing.
I'd say rather than being computer games, they're more like a different art form now.
Yeah.
They're like interactive movies, probably a good way. But some of the ones I've seen Limmy play are like they're not badly like they always end up being stupid because obviously there has to be some kind of high concept quality to it to kind of have a propulsive kind of plot to kind of keep you playing. So it has to end up somewhere. But in general, they're often kind of well acted.
Yeah.
Which again slightly defeats the purpose or I suppose the vibe of them, but they always end up cringe. I mean, I just don't. I didn't like them at the time. I don't like them, I didn't, and I don't like them now. But yeah, they are still a thing.
Pretty much zero replay value, I suppose. I guess you could. I suppose.
Well,
like
except that like
you can choose the
except like a
things,
choose your own.
Yeah,
Exactly. You can do different things. So there was one I remember Limmy played where you're going speed dating, and obviously you end up with someone. Depending on how it goes, you end up with someone and you go on, and so you can go back and try all the different combinations. Yeah. But I just, it's not for me, dog.
Howard then ends the piece with quite a sort of prophetic thing. Well, not prophetic, but the sort of like probably one of the first acknowledgements of the importance of computer games, where he says Donkey Kong, as he pronounces it, rather than Donkey Kong. And I presume he means Donkey Kong Country rather than Donkey Kong. because Donkey Kong's the old arcade game. Donkey Kong Country was the thing that came out.
I didn't know. I didn't know
Super
one way or the
Nintendo.
other. But he must mean, yeah, maybe. I suppose he
Super
must mean
Nintendo
Donkey
came
Kong
out?
Country.
One of them anyway. Better's made 370 million pounds.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So then I thought, I wonder what now these days are the highest earning games of all time. And what's interesting about this list, Mark, is I've not heard of half of them.
Oh, okay.
So this obviously includes.
I suppose some of them will be.
This includes online games. So
yeah.
So
MMORPG or whatever,
Exactly,
which you and I don't play.
So number 10, Crossfire. Never heard of that. So and these figures are adjusted for inflation to make it fair, because obviously they come out at different times.
That's good. I assume some of these will be kind of battle royale games like Fortnite. And
A lot of them
are
are.
just
A
kind
lot
of
of them are,
yeah. Which again, neither of you and we don't play.
No, because I'm incredibly bad at computer games. I only play them on easy. So the idea of playing against somebody who's actually good at a game.
You only play them in easy?
I play them on the easiest setting. I always play a game on the easiest setting.
God, I didn't know I was a harder core gamer than you were. I play them on medium.
You're going to be telling me to get good in a minute, aren't you? Right. So, Crossfire, 13 billion. League of Legends, 15 billion. Lineage, nearly 17 billion. PUBG, which I think is player something battleground.
Player unknown
battleground.
Right? PUBG. Yep.
Just nearly 18 billion. Honor of Kings, it's a Chinese one apparently. 18.5 billion. Fortnite, which I thought would be the top one, 20 billion. Street Fighter 2, 22 billion. Wow. Dungeon Fighter Online, never heard of that, 22 billion. Yeah. And then this really surprised me. Pac-Man, 26 billion. And at number one, Mark, still the king with 30 billion, Space Invaders.
Wow.
So that means the Space Invaders craze must have been absolutely more insane than we realise. Because nobody's playing Space Invaders now.
That's interesting. I just looked it up, because I would have thought Grand Theft Auto 5 would have been there. That's only generated 10.5 billion.
Pocket change.
That's unbelievable. It did make me wonder though, because obviously, I think it's widely well known now that the computer game industry absolutely is so much bigger than Hollywood, and various things, and obviously, I was just listening. Earlier today, I was listening to a podcast I enjoy called The Big Picture, and it was their review of The Odyssey. And I'm going to listen to it up to the spoilers. As they say, you can hardly spoil The Odyssey. It's a great film, you say. Yeah. And they were talking about at the beginning. They were talking about news and blah blah blah, and they were interested by the fact that there are no big releases around Thanksgiving, and they are surprised that the 4th of December weekend doesn't have any big releases. And actually, in general, November and December are looking light. And I don't think they put two and two together.
Really?
That's because Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out. And everyone it's not just the computer games industry that are avoiding that release. Everyone is avoiding that release because you will not compete against that. That is going to absolutely destroy whatever alternative entertainment you're providing for that 2.5 weeks it comes out. And that made me think, not that, because actually that was more when I was listening to it earlier, that was like, oh, they haven't put two and two together, because I remembered it was because I put down in my notes, it's like, this is interesting to me, because like this segment is past in the sense that it recognizes that the computer game industry is actually quite big now, but it's still a relatively patronizing segment in terms of its tone. This is still like a bit of a toy, bit of a gimmick, but they recognize that there's real money to be made here and that it's probably going forward. And I was thinking, what is the inflection point where the mainstream media, for want of a better phrase, had to start taking this seriously? We don't even get stories anymore about like, oh my god, this game's so bloody and gory, because stuff like The Last of Us gets turned into Emmy award-winning television and things like that. People now recognize that computer games are art in a different sense, or some of them are definitely, and they're telling stories in a kind of an interesting way. At what point did we go from kind of being slightly tongue-in-cheek and a little bit flippant and patronizing to kind of taking it seriously. And I'm not some kind of evangelist for like, oh my God, you got to be a gamer. It's more like a great story well told in whatever medium is as important as any other great story told in a different medium. And if you do it well, it's art and it's incredible and it can change lives and make you feel stuff. And it doesn't matter how you get there. You know, we should all just be delighted it's available to us. What is that point? Because it feels like it's not 1995, but it's not, we can't be far off it. But maybe we are. Maybe it was the early 2000s. Was it like
Grand Theft Auto 3?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that was Franklin, right? That was the one in. Was that San Andreas?
San Andreas. Yeah.
That's San Andreas. Yeah. It might be that. Yeah. That's absolutely true. Where that became something else, right? And then we've just had more and more of these kind of. Last of Us is the one that always pops into my head. Where it's like, I remember when that came out, and people were like, "Holy shit, this is really well acted, incredibly well scripted, and the story is like you play to see what happens next in the story. The play is good, but you're doing it to get to the next cutscene to find out what happens in this relationship and this dynamic and this journey." I don't know. It's not a question I expect you to answer, but it's one of those things where like I'm fascinated to know when that moment is, and it's not as simple as money because already, you know, as you just pointed out, some of these games were making a lot of money already. Though it is fascinating that Pac-Man and Space Invaders are right at the top, which is absolutely right. People must have been, it must have been the equivalent
put their annual salaries
of going to the betting shop with your gyro. Yeah, absolutely. People were getting their weekly check from the factory going straight down to pop the pennies in the Pac-Man machine, right?
Yeah, insane.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Well, that's the excitement of computer games. Should we move on to an even more exciting world of soil erosion?
Yeah, I know it's coming. I can barely wait.
Next, Monty Don reports from Australia, where even mushroom clouds can have a silver lining.
For the last 50 years, the world's nuclear powers have been developing and testing their atomic weapons. Although the remote test sites have suffered the brunt of these blasts, the atomic explosions have had an effect on the entire planet. In fact, the nuclear fallout has contaminated soil around the world.
Although the level of this fallout is actually minute, there's just enough in the soil to be of interest to a pair of scientists working on a problem here in the Hunter Valley. Now, this is an environmental problem of huge importance, particularly here in Australia, but relevant across the entire world.
This problem has nothing whatsoever to do with nuclear contamination. What Greg Elliott and Bob Loughran are interested in is the problem of soil erosion. They're worried that the Hunter Valley, well known for its vineyards, may be suffering from severe erosion. Now, these fields may look fertile enough, but the fear is that the soil is being gradually but continuously washed and blown away. If that's the case, then in years to come, this land will become barren. But Bob and Greg reckon that simply by taking a soil sample, they can accurately work out how serious the soil erosion really is. Now, that's important, because once you can pinpoint the almost invisible signs of erosion, you can then build windbreaks and terracing, which will stop the soil eroding before it's too late. But how on earth can a soil sample tell you if what you're looking at today is only a fraction of what was there 10 years ago? Well, that's where the nuclear fallout comes in. Every time there's a nuclear test, the explosion creates a material called cesium-137. And what's particularly interesting about cesium-137 is it's only ever created in a nuclear explosion. So 50 years ago, cesium-137 just didn't exist.
The cesium falls out of the sky onto the entire Earth. Apparently there's been nowhere that hasn't got some level on it that's been tested. And although it falls unevenly, it tends to locally be pretty accurate. So you take a local level, and then if you take a soil sample, you can measure the cesium in that. And if there's less than you would expect, it means there's been erosion, and you can actually quantify that erosion. And if there's more, it's accumulated from somewhere else. It's a very precise measurement.
To measure accurately these very low cesium levels, The soil samples are brought to Sydney, to the Australian Centre for Nuclear Research.
Well, this is a sample that we want to measure the cesium in, and because it's radioactive, we can use this special sensing crystal in this protective housing here, and it senses the radioactivity and records the counts. And we lock it away in its lead castle, and it'll count.
Very elaborate lead all round it. Why is that?
To protect the sample from external radiation, radiation from the cement-rendered walls and incoming solar radiation.
So it's not to stop us getting irradiated by that?
Oh, no. No, the radioactive levels in the soil sample are very low.
Now, what does that tell us in terms of how much is there?
Well, this sample is a very low activity, and I would interpret that to mean there's a very large amount of erosion at the site the sample was taken from.
Because, let me work this out, the soil has been washed away with the cesium in it?
Yes.
Another sample taken from lower down the hill has more than average radiation, because that's where the eroded soil is ending up. Thanks to an accident of the arms race, it is now possible to accurately work out exactly where soil is being eroded, how much is being eroded, and even where it's going to. Bob and Greg have been taking soil samples across the length and breadth of Australia. And as a result, they can now compare the damage caused by different types of farming. For instance, grazing causes less damage than was feared. And it seems that cultivation is really the more serious problem. So, I mean, would you take vines as cultivation? That counts here?
Yes, for certain. I mean, in this particular vineyard, we've got measurements of 27 tonnes per hectare per year.
27 tonnes of what?
Of soil loss, 27 tonnes per hectare of soil loss per year, yes.
And is that very bad?
It's towards the upper end of our scale. We have had sites where we've had twice as much.
Australia spends about $100 million every year of public money combating soil erosion. That's about £50 million. And if nothing else, this study will enable them to focus those funds where they can do most good. And to put the problem into perspective in the vineyards, these results show that for every bottle of wine produced, there's between 1 and 20 kilograms of soil eroded. Think of that next time you have a drink.
Well, Mark, this is surely going to be the last time that we have an episode where we have two new presenters. We've got another new presenter.
I know.
Shall I play the jingle?
Yeah.
Can't wait to find out what I picked for that.
I can't wait either. I'm just jealous you're going to find out before me.
But the weird thing is that Monty Don is such a familiar presence that I had to generally check to see whether we'd had him before, because you see him around so much, and
he's an ever present in our lives.
Exactly,
right?
yeah. But we know we've never had him on. We've never had him on Tomorrow's World before. Very reassuring TV presence, I think. I can't imagine there's many people in the world who don't like Monty Don. Is there? I mean, what's your opinion on Monty Don? You got some sort of visceral hatred for him?
No, I don't. And actually, what's interesting is there's a famous guy on Twitter who comments on men's fashion and men's dress sense.
Oh, was it Derek Guy?
D. Verk guy, whatever his name is. He's a big fan of Monty Don, even though he's American.
Yeah.
He's a big fan of Monty Don because Monty Don has his own style that really works for him. Look, I'm not a gardening person, so that obviously automatically kind of puts Monty Don into a different category. But I have no issue with him whatsoever. He seems like a good source.
No.
To the best of my knowledge, unless you know otherwise.
No. I suspect, I've got a feeling that they probably, on Tomorrow's World, just break him out whenever they've got any sort of horticultural adjacent things to do. Because that seems to be a speciality. Although, not a horticulturalist by training. He was born Montague Dennis Wyatt Don.
Okay.
He's got an OBE. He's also the Deputy Lieutenant of Herefordshire. And he's got a thing called a VMH, which is a Victorian... Oh, I didn't write it down. But it's some sort of horticultural medal from the Queen. Born in July 1955, so he's 40 in this episode. These days he's 71. He's born in West Germany, Iserlohn. because his dad was a soldier, so stationed there, one of those that sort of job. Because his parents were British, but they were in Germany when he was born. He is the descendant of a famous Scottish botanist called George Don, who was big in the 1800s, and also the Keeler. I don't even pronounce it as Keeler, I think. But have you ever those old Victorian marmalade jars that so many people have? They're like made of white porcelain, and they say James Keeler and Sons Dundee marmalade on them. He's descended from that family. The first commercially produced marmalade. I didn't realise that. Just thoughts on marmalade. I think I've probably had marmalade about twice in my entire life. It's not something I would ever reach for.
My nanny, my mum's mum, passed away a long time ago. When I used to stay at her house in Dublin, she would make marmalade sandwiches. Oh. And I enjoyed them at the time, and I've not had them since I was a child. No particular desire to. No,
probably wouldn't.
Partly
taste
because I don't like Jaffa cakes.
Wouldn't taste as good,
well, no, it wouldn't, because they weren't made by my nan, right?
No. And people who think you were cosplaying as Paddington anyway these days.
Marmalade? Yeah, no, they would, yeah.
Got a twin sister called Alison Don. Now, he is proper posh. Went to some very posh public schools. He went to a public school that I've never heard of, which has got the great name of Big Shot School. Right?
I've never heard that's a lie.
No. Big Shot, but it's double TE at the end. But I presume it's pronounced Big Shot. But what I really liked about that...
No, it's a test. It's probably like bigots or something like that.
Yeah. But what I liked about that is he was asked to leave for being too boisterous. So he was too much of a big shot for Big Shot, I guess. Went to Cambridge, married a jeweller called Erskine. Erskine.
Yeah. As in Erskine and May, but like anyway, it doesn't matter. They're the rules of Parliament. That's like, these aren't real names. These are made up names. But then you find out posh people have them.
They love a made up name. Opened a costume jewellery shop in Knightsbridge together in the 80s.
Of course, as anyone does.
Notable customers included Boy George, Michael Jackson, and Princess Diana. I think.
Well, there you go.
Is that not the most 80s lineup of customers you've ever heard in your entire life? The only customer missing is Mr. T, I think. That'd be the most 80s lineup of customers imaginable.
Too American.
And
that's
also
British
supplies
80s.
his own jewellery. 80s, yeah. I mean, he doesn't need to go to costume.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, no. He takes other people's, Ross. They're totems of war, right?
Yeah. Very successful. Not only did they have the shop, they had all of their stuff in all the posh shops, Harrods, Fortnum's and all that. 87 crash came along, absolutely wiped them out completely. They had to sell everything. They had to sell all their house, their furniture, everything. Didn't have a job. Monty had to go on the dole. It was a real, came crashing right down. However, that did give him the sort of impetus to do, what he's always wanted to do, which apparently turns out was write about gardening. So that's what he did.
Fair enough.
And then really quickly, presumably because he's incredibly well connected, got a column in the Mail on Sunday, doing a gardening column. And then he was asked to do a screen test for This Morning, and he got a job being the gardening expert on This Morning in the 1989, I think it was. So he was doing that for a bit, and then Tomorrow's World came along and said, "Oh, do you want a job in Tomorrow's World?" So then he got a job on Tomorrow's World, but only for a year. And then he did some stuff on the holiday program as well. But then he's obviously his big break. He's like sort of his big. The thing that made him famous is that Titchmarsh retired from Gardener's World, and so he became the presenter of Gardener's World in 2003. And that's when the Don became the Don, really, in terms of in the gardening world. Although it is notable that when Titchmarsh was presenting Gardener's World, he had a viewership of 5 million. And when, after Don took over, the viewership crashed to 2 million. But surprisingly, he managed to hold on to his job. They blamed it on a format change. Why change the format of Gardener's World?
I don't know. I was going to ask the same question. What is the point?
Don't change the format of a program that is exclusively watched by old people. Mm-hmm. They're not you're not gonna get young people watching it, and all the old people are going to hate it. Keep it the same.
I think, to me, 3 of the worst words in the English language to see together on something that you love is new and improved.
Why do they have to keep mucking about with things?
Leave it alone!
But anyway, despite the viewership going down, he managed to bring things back. And then he pulled off a great, I'd say an excellent coup for any TV presenter. In 2011, rather than it being in, you know, some sort of BBC arranged garden he was presenting, just presented from his garden. So since 2011, it's been presented from his own garden, which means that he has like a team of BBC employed gardeners, and like it's all.
Do you think he charges a rental fee?
Oh, almost certainly, yeah, you would do, wouldn't you? Yeah. Yeah, he's absolutely nice work if he could get it. So,
money begets money, Russ.
Exactly.
That's how the system works, right?
Yeah. So he's not given that up. He said he was going to retire, but then he obviously realised he's onto a good thing, so he's still doing it, I think, as far as I'm aware. And as you said, he's a bit of a style icon for certain people. He has said that he gets a post bag, and the biggest chunk of correspondence he receives is people asking him, "Oh, you know, what a jumper you were wearing last Friday? What was that?" and things like that. It's people asking him what he was wearing. Although he did get in trouble, May this year he got in trouble because he was on Presenting Gardener's World wearing a blue Barber jacket. Right. And he's currently in an advertising campaign for Barber. So it was very much...
You shouldn't do that. I appreciate you might get free stuff, but that is not
That
clever.
Is very much an obvious brand name on the ad for BBC, isn't it?
Yeah. They don't like that.
They gave him a slap on the wrist for that. They didn't sack him a lot in the same way that they sacked poor old Michel Roux Jr. for advertising potatoes, though.
And Carol Vorderman, who actually we've not discussed, have we?
Yes, we did when
blew past it. I know we did previously, but we haven't in this particular episode because, as you rightly point out, this is only the second episode of Carol Vorderman that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So fair play. And I will just say, because we are both eager for this to go to the socials. Let's take this opportunity to point out that Carol Vorderman has that annoying habit that some people around this time did, and I don't remember if we pointed this out the first time we saw her on the show, which might be because she either didn't do it, or we didn't spot it, or more likely we were distracted by the fact that she had the most horrendous head cold. But every time she finishes her introductions, which you will have already heard on the podcast or seen on YouTube, possibly, depending on Channel 4's permission, she looks off camera right, which pisses me off because... She's not going to watch it. We're watching it.
She's eager to see it. She's eager to see it, Mark. She's eager to see it.
Stop. Hush now. I don't like it. But yes, she fell foul of the BBC's strict approach to advertising. And now, to be fair, in my one abiding memory of the episode we covered in which she hosted, besides the fact that she had the horrible head cold, was you showing me the advert she did. And obviously you remember at the time, you remember it was a scandal, but when you showed it to me, it's like, it was so egregious. It was absolutely, she was cruising for a bruising. Yeah. And I think the same is true of Michel Roux Jr., but of course they did it the other way. Which is they aped the Tomorrow's World style or the BBC style to advertise, whereas he was wearing something he was separately advertising, but not in a Gardener's World style. So that might be the difference.
That is true. Yeah. But be careful, Don. Be careful. You don't want to kill that golden gardening goose. That's all I'm going to say.
God no.
But yes, so Don, to onto the piece here. The Don is in Australia. He's got a lovely gig. He's gone all the way to Australia, and I'm always genuinely surprised when I see rural Australia and it doesn't look like Crocodile Dundee. I appreciate that there must be parts of Australia that aren't like Crocodile Dundee, but I've never seen them. So the fact that there's this sort of green lush pasture and like vineyards and stuff, it doesn't look like Australia to me. It looks like I don't know, Sussex or something.
I simply don't believe you need a flying doctor if you can drive somewhere. No. Lies, Russ.
No.
Lies.
No. And the piece starts quite excitingly with a nuclear explosion, Mark. One of our favourite things in the whole world. We love nuclear explosions,
absolutely,
don't we?
Yeah,
we love nuclear explosions.
More, please, more.
Yeah. And you talk about nuclear weapons tests. And so it turns out that nuclear weapons tests are an absolute boon for the Australian agriculturalist. Who knew?
And we were told they were all bad, and we were lied to.
Yeah, stick that in your pipe, CND. Turns out that without the 2,121 nuclear tests since 1945, these poor old Australian farmers wouldn't have a clue of how much soil erosion is occurring in their vineyards.
No, go figure.
Yeah. That's how many tests.
I do feel like they could probably... Can you eyeball it? Surely you spot the grass moving down the hill. So. Anyway, look. I'm not a gardener.
Yeah. Over 2,000 tests, Mark. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously,
You think one country would only need to do it once as a proof, and then that's it, right?
Yeah. USA's tested just over 1,000. Russia just over 700. UK 88. France 210. That's too many for France, I would say.
That's greedy. Well, they were doing it way into the 90s. When it was the Bikini Atoll? French.
47 for China, 3 for India, 2 for Pakistan, and North Korea's playing catch up because it's the only one that still does them, and it's done 6 so far. But the great thing about these nuclear tests is that they create an element that doesn't occur naturally in the universe. There's an element called cesium-137, an isotope that can only be formed by nuclear explosions or nuclear reactions. So basically, if it's got cesium-137 in it, it means it was there after 1945. Essentially, that's the what a great way of testing things. So that's it's just got these fellas going around this with these a hammer and a pipe, hammering it into the ground, all wearing different hats for some reason.
Amazing collection of
weird hat crew.
Yeah,
taking a soil sample, taking it to the lab, and then looking at how radioactive it is, or how not radioactive it is, and then they can work out how much soil was come onto the land. Job done. Great. I was looking at cesium-137 and I found a much more interesting use for it. It's fairly similar. It turns out that you can also use it to detect counterfeit wine, which is kind of connected, I guess. So it turns out that there's a bloke called Bill Koch, who is the brother of the 2 evil industrialists, Charles and David Koch.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Bill Koch paid $500,000 for about 4 or 5 bottles of wine, which apparently belonged to Thomas Jefferson. They were called the Jefferson bottles, right?
Yeah.
And they came with very fancy sort of engraved bottles. But there was like wine experts going, this is a bit dodgy. We've looked at Thomas Jefferson. We've got all Thomas Jefferson's records, and it's a type of wine that he never bought before, and all of this. This doesn't add up. And then somebody came along and said, I know how to work this out. Thomas Jefferson's wine won't have any cesium-137 in it because it should have been made in the 18th century. Yeah. So they got the old detector out, and sure enough, it's basically brand new wine in fraudulent bottles. So poor old Bill Koch had wasted $500,000 on fake wine.
Surely get your money back for that.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what you do. What you buy at auction? Is it sold as seen? I don't know. But it turns out it was this man. He was a wine fraudster called Rudy Kurniawan, and he was actually like a super duper wine expert, and he had incredible taste. But his taste was so good that he could make fake vintage wine because he knew what the actual vintage wine tasted like, and he could make up recipe. He could make fake bottles made by forgers, and he could then make up using existing wines to make up the recipe to make it taste like whatever the vintage wine tasted, and then sell it for like millions. He made loads of money, but they only found him out because he was putting more bottles of wine on the market than actually should have existed.
That ever existed.
yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah, so that's quite a clever thing, isn't it? And also the other great thing about cesium-137, Mark, it's the main source of radioactivity around our favourite place, Chernobyl. So we're probably absolutely stuffed full of the stuff, Mark.
Absolutely, especially your neck.
Yeah, we've got it through us like Blackpool Rock. But yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not. Other than the nuclear explosions get you excited, and then it's just people taking soil samples in a hat.
Yeah, it's boring.
It's soil erosion. I mean, there's not really. There's. I can't think of many subjects more boring than soil erosion. Really.
No. I know it's important. I'm not an idiot.
It's important,
but it's not entertaining.
I did wonder why, because these fellas said, like the soil erosion is actually at the upper end of like it's actually some, pretty bad. Like it's some of the worst soil erosion that we could have predicted. And then I looked at, I just said, well, why is it so bad? And it was just all the blokes who lived there, all the people that lived there have just ruined it. They've just
greedy boys, right?
The river used to be 26. It used to be a nice meandering 26-kilometre river that would like that. They got rid of all the horseshoes. Remember the horseshoes we learned in geography?
I do.
They got rid of all the horseshoes and just made it dead straight. Made it only 9 kilometres long. So that meant it's flooded all the time, pulled all the soil in. Just ruined it, Mark. They've pulled up all of the brush and the trees to plant their vines. So it's all their fault. So I don't know why they're complaining now, really. Reap what you sow, Mark. Reap what you sow. But then
Which you'd think farmers would be used
exactly.
to doing.
They should know about that. But then it obviously ends on Monty pouring himself a nice glass of white wine in the vineyard.
Yeah. And
you hear the of the wine going in the glass.
Yeah.
And I did
pop of the cork.
And I did say, is that one of the best? It's got to be one of the best sounds known to man, isn't it?
Or combination of sounds. Yeah. I did think about it, and I was kind of thinking, there must be others that are like.
I was thinking clack of snooker balls. I really love, but that
is satisfying, but not in the same way. Not least because if you're at home and your partner does it, or you're at a friend's house and it happens, you instantly go, delicious wine. And I think you feel a little bit, especially after if you've had a busy week. And
what's that?
Well, I mean, for a start, you drink all your wine from a box.
Yeah, I like the sound of that little cardboard circle being punched in.
Yeah, you do. And puncturing the big Ribena sack with your special straw. No, after a busy week, and you hear that wine being uncorked, and then the glug glug glug. That's a sweet sound. That really is a sweet sound. And it did make me think, if you're listening to this or watching this, what is better? What is a better sound or combination of sounds? And I don't mean just it sounds really lovely. There are some sounds that are just nice to hear, but what just grabs you and makes you feel we're going somewhere now?
You will be excited to know, Mark, though, that I did find a 2006 marketing survey done by Siemens to mark the launch of their Centra hearing aid, which asked for Britain's favourite sounds.
Okay. It's a sizzle of sausages in a frying pan in there. Or something like that.
Top 10, rain on a tent, / caravan roof.
Oh,
Number 9,
okay,
footsteps through fresh snow. Number 8, waves crashing on the shore. Number 7, an open fire. Number 6, a stream of flowing over rocks. Number 5, laughter. I think that's very dependent on who's laughing, I would say.
That's very subjective.
Number 4, rain falling. I mean, that's basically number 1.
We've had that already at number 10. Yeah,
number 10, not as good.
Yeah.
Number 3, a cat purring.
Oh, it is quite nice.
Number 2, dawn chorus.
Yeah.
And number 1, with a full 19% of the votes, the glug of wine as it pours into a glass.
Well, there you go. I was going to invite people to email into tomorrowsworld at gmail.com. I don't think you need to now. We have the facts.
But if anybody's got any unusual ones, then I would certainly.
Yeah, do. If they're unusual, but that you think other people. Oh, let's be honest. We're all of a type here listening and speaking on this.
I'll tell you what.
We will probably agree with you.
Tell you what, Mark. There's those things that attach to the wall that are highly sprung that stop doors hitting them. And spraying one of those. Give those a good old spraying.
That is quite good.
That is good.
That is quite good. I don't think it beats wine, though.
No. Deserves to be in the list higher than laughter. Though.
11. I assume it's 11.
Yeah. We can just go to the next piece, can't we?
We can indeed. Let's move on.
Move on to what I think is probably the best piece of the episode, I would say.
Yeah.
And obviously your favourite piece, because it contains your favourite sport, soccer.
On Sunday, it's the last day of the Football League. And right now, soccer fans in pubs up and down the country are busy trying to figure out who's going to win the championship. Now, the bookies still make Blackburn odds-on favourites. But according to one soccer-mad mathematician, the bookmakers don't always get their odds quite right. He's developed a system which he believes can predict football results more accurately than any bookie. And if he's right, he could beat them at their own game. Football, the most popular game in the world. For more than 100 years, predicting its whys and wherefores has occupied the minds of some of our country's greatest thinkers.
Nobody knows in football. It's a funny old game. It can prove you wrong every 48 hours.
I think it's very much a case of class versus commitment.
Football is an 11-a-side game.
Well, you need a goal, obviously.
I'm a little worried now about my prediction.
Even the fool is wise after the event.
We're on our knees praying, aren't we?
So much for the big boys. Minor League Lancaster Arithmeticals think they're onto a safer bet with their new forward. With 2 good feet and a slide rule down his shin pad, this would-be giant killer is confident that when it comes to predicting football results, his strike rate is second to none.
Well, I think I've got a system which can predict football matches better than the bookmakers or the experts.
Beat the bookies? Is he serious? It's all a matter of meticulous statistics, an equation of two halves. Can this soccer-mad mathematician here at Lancaster University really pull off this shock result? If he can, he won't rely on gut reactions. He prefers to use his head. But just who is he?
Mystery guest time now, one for each team. Name this Major League pretender.
His day job is using his statistical skills to decide how high seawalls need to be built to prevent flooding. He does it by analysing computerised records of sea levels over the last 90 years. Of course, it's Dr. Mark Dixon. And this football fan, unlike most statisticians, wanted to give 110%. So he decided to turn his knowledge of statistical modelling to the field of football prediction. But why should he succeed where all others have failed?
People have tried to model football matches in the past, but they've only included information on whether a team loses or wins or draws. And I thought you could do better using a more detailed statistical technique by including whether a team, how likely a team is to score or concede a goal. And by using the system, we could come up with a better method for predicting football matches.
To pull off something that's eluded the experts for years would be far from a walkover. So Mark trawled his way through 3 years' results from the Football League. He found that the number of goals a team is likely to score in 90 minutes and the number of times a seawall is likely to be breached in a 90-year period could be handled by the same statistical theory. For the first round, he was playing on home turf. So this season, Mark enlisted the help of another football-crazed numbers man and tried his hand at predicting results of league matches. The theory goes like this. When two sides meet, all you have to do is compare each side's ability to score goals, its tendency to concede them, throw in a little home advantage, and mix them together in a way that statisticians do so well. And you can predict the odds of a home win, away win, or a draw. When Mark checked his odds with those of the bookmakers' experts, people who know football inside out, he was pleased to see they usually agreed. But more than just holding its own, his analytical approach showed signs on occasion of outmanoeuvring the bookies. According to his theory, each week the betting shops were getting a few odds badly wrong. Could this be his chance to make mathematics pay? Mark decided to put his money where his mouse is, to prove that his computed statistics could beat the bookies. So, after placing each Saturday's bets, Mark's glued to the television, eager for results. Oh, he's lost 4 bets on the trot, not a confident start. But it's long odds this week, so just a couple of winners should see him in the money. Oh, there's one, but he's not in the clear yet. It's all down to the final game.
Preston North End 0, Torquay United 1.
Yes, it's a win, and a big one at 10-1. Hey, that's brilliant. You're up 21%. You must be over the moon.
Yeah, good week this week. It's not always as good as that, though. But on the whole, I'm fairly pleased with the performance.
Overall for the season, Mark's performance against the bookies leaves him just ahead on goal difference. Not bad when you take into account betting taxes and the bookies' profit. But it's against the punters that Mark scores such spectacular victories. Most of them lose 30% of their stake in the long run. But Mark's superb analytical approach puts him in a different league. So, has he got the bookies worried?
We fully expect to be able to open for business at the start of next season. Dr. Dixon is one in a long line of punters who believe that they've found an infallible system for beating the bookmakers. Many have tried, few have succeeded. We're so worried that we're prepared to give him £500 worth of free bets to bet with on behalf of the charity of his choice.
Mark, how confident are you?
Well, a piece of cake on the day, Carol. Obviously, the computer's played an important role this season. But all I have to do is feed in the fixtures, input the odds, and out come the best bets. I just have to put them on.
That's got to be a match to look forward to.
We'll try to remain calm.
Well, for the last 3 weekends, Dr. Mark Dixon has been using that £500 stake to place bets on the matches he thinks he can make money on. This coming weekend, he'll place his last bets. So, will he make a profit or a loss? Next week, I'll be giving you the final result.
So, Russ, you thought you offended me with your use of the word soccer there. But I know, now that you are a hardcore football fan, you're going to be joining me at the Emirates Stadium.
I'm a soccer fan, actually, Mark. I'm going to insist on being a soccer fan, not a football fan.
Are you? Do they use soccer in the Netherlands?
No, they actually do say football.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Because the thing about soccer as a word, I'm sure many people know, is that like it is an English word, but the reason it has And it is used in the UK, and it is, it was particularly used in the UK, like probably the late 90s and stuff like that. It's like, to me it's an interesting thing, and it's not that it's an indicator of whether you learn that the sport is football or not. It's an indicator of your interest and respect for the sport, in that it was perfectly fair to call football soccer in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Now, interestingly, the clip they show at the beginning starts with Don Revie talking about it. He calls it football. Everyone calls it football because they're interested in football. The people who are talking call it football. And actually, even Carol herself, when she's confronted with people playing football, refers to it as football. But at the beginning, she calls it soccer. And that's because she's not interested in it. It's not her sport. And I think this is an interesting point in football, because as I said to you, and I'm sure you read my notes with absolute fascination, is that this is a really peculiar point in football. Up until Hillsborough and Heysel and a few of those disasters, some tragedies, well, they're all tragedies, but like some, they have various sources that make them slightly different. But at the heart of it was obviously you think of the Margaret Thatcher approach to football hooliganisms, and that and the fact you pen people in, you make them feel like animals or whatever because you're treating them the way they are. We're at an interesting point here where this is the third season of the Premier League, which at the time was called the Premiership, or this season was. So football had changed. This breakaway league had started, and money was being poured into the sport through the Sky contract. But also, there was a proper marketing and PR campaign on to make football feel like it was something different to what it was in the 80s. The real inflection point comes next summer with Euro 96, and that was the point where football became part of the kind of Britpop zeitgeist. And I think it was probably the first... Correct, Russell. You know the song.
Yeah.
Probably because everyone sings it every other summer, right? It comes back up again. No, there is a kind of a feeling that we need to move on from that. Not least because obviously it's now 60 years of Hearst, and that feels like, now the fact that 3 Lions is exactly halfway between England winning the last World Cup, their only World Cup, and now makes it feel less funny. But also, I think the weird thing about 3 Lions is, like, for a while, there was a real reaction against the fact that people around the world going like, oh, you English, you're so arrogant, you think it's coming here. I was like, no, please. If you listen to the proper song, it's actually it's a plaintive song about pain and agony, and it's reflecting the fact that to be a fan of English football and the England football team is to know you're going to suffer and to kind of be at one with that, but to still have hope. And that was true up until about 5 years ago, because the current generation of fans who sing it have no idea. And they sing it completely unironically. So I think there is a kind of a pivot away from it. But football is changing. And, pretty much around like the next summer, as far as this show goes, in 96 onwards, which also is around the time that the St. George's flag was kind of reclaimed. Because, even up until like Italia 90, which is obviously a big moment for English football, if you look at the images from Italy, there are some English fans there, but they're mostly UK, they're mostly the Union flag, right? Yeah. That was the flag of the English, because the St. George's flag was kind of associated with, uncomfortable awkwardness. It's all fine now,
though, isn't it? Just St. George's flag.
It's all fine now, Russ. People love the flag so much, they won't stop putting up on lampposts at exactly appropriate points. I just think this is a really interesting point, because like there's a reason I think Tomorrow's World does not cover football until around this time. It's because it was not something you wanted to cover. It was an awkward, painful, destructive thing. Yeah. But now this is kind of symptomatic of like it is shifting. It is turning. It is becoming a part of the culture. And I now think there is this feeling that the English Premier League is one of the UK's most powerful exports, or one of the reasons that the UK is still an important place is partly because of the Premier League, that it is the single most important league in the world, national league in the world, and it starts around about now. And actually, funny enough, it probably starts around the time that Blackburn Rovers win the league, with this idea of there being these climactic battles, and Sky was marketing them really hugely. So all this goes around saying is like very, very soon people stop calling it soccer. Yeah.
But would you think the betting aspect of it?
Yes.
They wouldn't have a fun segment about betting these days, would they?
No, they would not have done.
No.
Yeah.
Probably more gambling now than there was.
Oh my God. Absolutely.
It's not treated. Easily. It's not treated as the fun flutter that it seems to be treated here.
No,
He's just
there's a kind of a joyous flippancy, isn't there, to what he's doing? Yeah. There's no kind of sense of gambling being something that's kind of possibly problematic. We are all too familiar with it. And actually, it's not even like betting in football. It's more like, luckily, we're now living in a post-fixed odds betting terminal world. But the fact that, up until about 5 years ago, there were machines where people could go in and bet like £200 on the spin of a wheel. It's like, that's criminal. That's so morally negligent. Gambling stopped being fun quite a while ago.
I'm utterly baffled that somebody could get addicted to a machine that rinses you of money that quickly.
You and I have long discussed this since we were underage drinking in pubs, and you would see the same kind of archetype of man standing in front of a gambling machine for the entire time. We'd be out with our friends chatting and laughing and joking. There'd be one guy nursing a pint, just filling it up. And we used to joke about like, we'd lean over and just like, that's paid out. It's like, we thought it was funny, and now obviously like it's desperately tragic. I thank the Lord, I barely have any interest in betting or gambling whatsoever. I know you were saying to me, because I joked at the beginning, is like, I bet, now that you're a big football fan, because of you text me about watching the Mexico game, now that you're a big football, you're probably like one of those cool lads on like all those gambling ads. And you did say, actually, your experience of watching the football with some of your friends this summer had a kind of gambling element to it.
Yeah, good old Stu. He loves gambling.
Hello, Stu.
Yes, he loves gambling. Yeah. He was not. Yes.
Do you remember the bet that you put on that one?
No, I only won like a $5. It was a pretty easy bet. It was like, I'm pretty sure I used the phrase set piece because I knew that was a phrase that people use in football, and I thought I might try and make myself sound. It might have been like scores off of a set piece or something like that. I don't know what it was, but but I definitely won €5 or £5. But I think that went straight back in the pot. Mark Dixon, fascinating character here. You'll probably see him on.
He's the star.
Even listeners will be able to
card.
See a picture of him because he'll be our cover art, won't he, of this episode?
How could he not be?
But he's quite a character. I think he's.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's having fun. I liked him.
They're not. Probably quite easy to take the piss out of him for being a spotty geek, but they're not really doing that. They're kind of celebrating.
No.
They're celebrating.
No, they take the piss out of him because they're slightly patronising football, but not because he's a spotty geek.
Yeah. So you see, he reckons he's got this. He's a mathematician. He's a doctor of maths. So and he reckons he's got this system to beat the bookies. I presume there's probably every week there's somebody who thinks they've got a system to beat the bookies, but strangely bookies never go out of business, do they, Mark?
Indeed, yeah.
But you see him in his bedroom. What I really liked was the fact that he's got one of those those double chess clocks with the buttons on the top, and one of them one of the clocks is labelled work, and then the other one is labelled DOS. So he's obviously can time his working and DOSing time, which I enjoyed. Do you reckon that's his? Do you reckon he made that for the clip, or do you reckon that's actually his?
No,
he's got that.
No, he had that already. 100%. That was his. Yeah.
And there's plenty of footage of him going in and out of bookmakers. There's also some good sort of some archive footage, isn't there? We see the various sport football people, and then we see a clip of Question of Sport. I wanted to ask you Question of Sport, Mark. Have a guess how many episodes of Question of Sport, because it's finished now. Finished in 2023.
Yeah.
Have a guess how many episodes of Question of Sport were broadcast. Started in 1970.
So we know there were 1,409 episodes of Tomorrow's World broadcast. Yeah. So were there more? Well, there must be more. Oh, I suppose it must be. Gosh, 2,400.
No, Mark, it's a paltry and almost unauditable. 1,365.
What a waste of time! Why would you even bother if you're not going to finish? God's sake!
So so Question of Sport Audit Time would finish 3 years before us or something. No, what would it be?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously we're too late to start, but if it happened to be going on, I forgot to include my my working out. I must add that in.
But yeah, actually, the other thing, there's 2 shots of Jimmy Hill at the beginning there.
Yes.
I know, obviously, he's famous for his big chin, but his chin really was so big, wasn't it? It was such a big chin. And I got that amazing picture of him there at the bottom there. Look how good he looks with that chin.
I know. It's that most wonderful things, which is a Jimmy Hill profile pic.
Yeah. But what I was going to say about Jimmy Hill is I think he's probably one of the more Tomorrow's World adjacent of the football people, because he's basically he's a big innovator in football. Mark, did you know about this?
He is absolutely. Well, he broke the salary cap.
Yeah,
Sponsorship on shirts. So all-seater stadiums.
Maximum wage. All-seater stadium.
That was it. Maximum wage, not salary cap.
Lifted the ban on media interviews. But then these are the technological ones. The first electronic scoreboard in 1964. The first colour match day programme. And then in 1965, Coventry were the first club to show a live match via CCTV on 4 giant screens.
Wow.
I mean, that's big stuff, isn't it? That's proper technological stuff. Oh, Jimmy going around with his chin, inspecting the tech, I guess. But yeah, so and that picture next to Jimmy Hill, I'm sure you will guess, is what Mark Dixon looks like these days.
Yeah. See, that's a glow up.
Well, because he's got rid of his Ben Elton style mullet and glasses.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But I think probably it's a glow up because Mark Dixon is basically the Richard Branson of Exeter.
Wow.
It's he has an astonishing number of businesses, Mark.
Really?
Yeah. So his first business, actually, to prove that he was onto something here. His first business out of when he left university was he set up something called ATAS Sports, which stands for Advanced Training and Statistical Services.
Yeah.
Started that in 1998. And it was a statistical research consultancy providing modelling, forecasting and analysis for the sports industry. So he really did go into this sports stuff. I don't think he was providing betting tips. It's still going now, and it's has one of the largest commercial statistical research teams in Europe, and is a leader in the field of the application of statistical modelling. I can't say statistical in sports.
Say stat.
And there's a few case studies on the website, but the case study that really stood out to me was actually quite an old one, and it said new data shows shiny World Cup 2018 stickers are rarer.
Wow. Okay.
And I think this is based on a complete misinterpretation of. Isn't it famously the fact that shiny stickers are rare? Like, I thought the whole point of the shiny stickers.
Yes, they are. Yeah. There are just simply there are less of them in an album. Yeah. You get one per double page or something like that, maybe 2. I don't know.
But according to his analysis,
is he saying they're objectively rarer than other World Cup Panini albums?
So a new data set logging nearly 11,000 World Cup stickers collected over the last 3 months has indicated a substantial bias in the sticker frequencies, with shinies being systematically rarer than other stickers.
We knew that.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah. Without exception, all 50 of the special shiny stickers were found to have appeared noticeably fewer times than the average, contradicting the conventional wisdom that all stickers in the collection are equally rare. That is not the conventional wisdom.
That's not true.
Mark, you've based this research on a complete fallacy, mate. That's like the famous thing about shiny stickers is that they're rarer. Is it?
I suppose like the logic is like each individual sticker is as likely to turn up in comparison to any other individual sticker. But if you're going to separate out the shiny ones, there are just less of them.
No, but
so proportionally, they're always going to be rarer, right? There's just less of them.
Yeah. So that did make me wonder about his math skills. Well, actually, it makes me.
I'm really angry now. You've angered me.
But anyway, that was a springboard. But this is a springboard. He now owns. Yeah. He's either involved in, owns, or runs, or is the director of so many businesses. So he's got one called Sparks Learning, which is an education business. So they supply software. So they supply software for iPads, which is homework. So teachers can just set homework on iPads, and the kids do it. Teachers must love it because it's self-marking homework, basically.
Oh.
And that's used by 2,600 schools around the UK, apparently.
Oh, that's a lot of schools.
There's a lot of schools, isn't it? Yeah.
Then
he's got a thing called Oxygen House, which is some sort of environmental consultancy. He's got Oxygen Conservation, which sounds dodgy to me.
Yeah.
Which they buy up land. This other investor, they're buying up wilderness and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they can then use that to claim carbon credits. So it's like a carbon credit harvesting business.
Yeah. Right.
Oxygen Escapes, which is a holiday business where they're putting posh Airbnbs on some of this land that they've bought. Grenadier, which is a property developer that they put they build buildings with solar panels on the roof, basically, and pretend that it's environmentally free. He does a lot of environmental stuff.
Okay.
Low Carbon, which builds wind and solar farms around UK and Europe. Sideshore, a water sports venue on Exmouth seafront. The Dixon Foundation, which is a charitable foundation, provides funding for environmental and sustainable projects. And he even owns a pub. He owns the Five Bells Community Pub in Clyst Hyden, which is only a 25-minute drive from my mum's house. So, it turns out his man's got ambition, has had ambition, and and it's worked out for him, really.
Fair play.
Yeah. I don't know whether he's treated life like some sort of giant mathematical problem that he's worked out, you know.
Fair play. No, do you know what the thing about this? I was watching it, is like he is at the forefront of something here, which is the idea of like statistically analyzing football. The thing is, he's way ahead of the curve. Like, I was thinking about, it's like I'm sure even you have heard of XG and maybe even field tilt and a few other things. Like, stats now, or the analyzing of statistics in football is really big business. It's huge business. Like, data in football now is really huge. And like, even as somebody, you don't even need to pay for stuff. You can just, even the apps I have which have scores, they just are live churning out like real-time statistics. You know, XG, you know, expected goal, which is like, if you take a shot from a certain point in a certain game state, what's the likelihood, what's the percentage likelihood of you being able to score, like, and people are able to kind of, etc. It's like, I know he's not quite doing that, but that idea of like breaking down football into statistics and analysing likelihood was kind of, he's doing it as a bit of a hobby here, but like he is onto something. Yeah. So the fact that he has then gone on to succeed in different markets is not shocking to me. He strikes me as the kind of person who sees opportunity.
Yes, yeah,
which is like an impressive skill.
Yeah, and
or talent, whichever.
Obviously, we don't know. We at the moment. We get to Graham Sharp, who works for William Hill.
Yeah.
Who you said was quite famous, apparently.
I wouldn't say famous, but like he was a known figure in football because he would always be wheeled out. Actually, not just in football, but like in general, like he'd be wheeled out to talk about weird bets. So I think he would often be interviewed in the lead up to Christmas about the Christmas number one.
Well, yes, that's the thing. So apparently, that was his idea. The idea of betting on Christmas number one was his idea. So he started out as he worked for William Hill for 45 years. So he only retired in 2017, and he'd been a journalist before he joined William Hill for a short while.
He has a tabloid quality to him.
He had a tabloid, and he had the nose for a story sort of thing, like what would sell sort of thing. His first thing we came up with, the big drought of 1976, the thing that everyone's been talking about this year, you know, the boiling hot summer 1976. He came up with the idea of opening a book on when it was going to first rain. And that was like the first time that anybody had ever like
the novelty bet. Yeah,
right? Done a novelty bet on something like that. Yeah, and he's able to repeat it 2 years later when it was a really wet summer, and he's able to open a book on when it's going to stop raining, which I thought was a nice mirror image. But then he was also the one that opened up a book on who shot JR. Yeah, and then he came up with the betting on White Christmas and Christmas number one. So basically, I was thinking. So he basically sort of invented, because obviously these days the big thing in America is the old prediction markets, isn't it? And the poly market and all that.
Yeah.
Which is basically an extension of that. The only difference is with the poly market thing is that the people laying the bets are completely allowed to influence the outcome of whatever they're betting on, aren't they? Which is insane.
Yeah, because weirdly it's not betting or something like that. Yeah. It's some kind of loophole. It's prediction. Yes, it's predictions, not betting. It's very
strange that America is now really taking on gambling, because obviously we always grew up with the old idea that you can only gamble in Las Vegas and Atlantic City and Reno.
Yeah.
And then now they're just absolutely taking it to heart, and they're actually
hog wild, right?
I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. I'm sure it won't have any negative effects on
not at all. Yeah, Americans don't embrace things too hard and too fast, do they? Famously. Abstemious types.
But anyway, Graham Sharp, he seems eminently relaxed that old Mark Dixon is not going to...
Well, as I said, he played the kind of industry heel role, is how I'd kind of put it. Like he would represent the kind of smug house on he was kind of like, you'd roll him out and he would say something snide about, I think we're going to be okay. Yeah. Thanks very much.
Which is what he basically does here.
Which is what he does here, yeah.
A lovely bit of free advertising for William Hill says that, well, Mark can have £500 of free bets if he gives the winnings to charity, and then Mark is sent off to do his bets, but we don't find out the answer, do we, Mark?
Which is the obvious thing, because you should anyway. Go on then. Yeah. Oh, you have to go on then, because I was asking the questions like, do we find out in this episode, or do we wait until we organically audit this episode, which could be sometime between now and 21:32. 21:42.
I'd
like to know.
Yeah, I'm confident that we won't hit the next episode. I think we will have forgotten that we've done this by the time we get round to the next episode, so it'll be fine.
Because of late set Alzheimer's, right? It'll be decades. Go on then.
Yeah, so I have got the other episode. Hang on, let me bring it up.
Oh, fabulous! I'm fascinated.
So we can find out. We can find out together.
It did make me wonder why they didn't just broadcast this next week or the week after all the bets had been completed. But nonetheless,
get up the old
your old doohickey.
The big question is, how did Dr. Dixon fare? Well, the final result is mathematician 1, William Hill 0. After betting on 14 different matches, Dr. Dixon made a profit of £71.75. And after tax, that's still a healthy £41.25. Keep that up all year and he would double his £500 stake. Now, not surprisingly, William Hill are interested to find out more about Dr. Dixon's method and are keen to monitor his bets over the next season.
That's interesting.
There you go.
Keen to monitor his bets. Now, is that not because there's that thing, isn't there, that if you start winning too much, they just close your account.
They just stop you. Yeah. They don't actually have to take your bets.
Yeah. So they reckon he'd make a grand over a year. Is that did he double his stake?
Well,
he'd make £500 over a year.
It's only based on £500. He would double it to 1,000. But obviously, if your percentage return was, what is that? That's like 8.5%. And you were confident, you wouldn't be betting £500 every year. You'd be betting 500,000 every year.
Yes, yeah. Oh well, so maybe
that's amazing. Well done him.
Yeah, well done him. I'm shocked. I was actually quite surprised by that.
Yeah, that's not what I was expecting.
Well, maybe that's where he got all his seed capital then for all these 9,000 businesses that he's bloody running.
Yeah, clever boy.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean that's it, Mark. I think. Is there anything else you want to say about that?
Yeah. No, not about Dixon. That was great. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Oh, wow.
Gambling does work.
It does, yeah.
What a great lesson to teach. Well, let's breathe a sigh of relief for us that we've got through another episode. And I want you to tell me about the year in context. Please tell me about the cinema box office.
Okay. The cinema box office for the week of the 12th of May, 1995. Number 10, Star Trek Generations. What a disappointing film that was.
I saw that at the Empire Leicester Square. I quite enjoyed it, but it's not great.
It's the
with hindsight, Russ, it's one of the best next gen films, right?
It's the fact that Kirk dies so heroically, just to put some stairs fall on him. Like, if you're going to kill Captain Kirk, you should kill him in the most spectacular manner possible.
Sorry, were they stairs or was it a gantry?
No, you're absolutely correct. It was indeed a gantry, yes. Yeah.
Now you're not so disappointed, are you?
Number 9, Clarks or Clerks, depending on how you like to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Number 8, Milk Money.
I've never heard of that.
It's got Melanie Griffith and Ed Harris in it.
Okay.
Number 7, Legends of the Fall.
Yep.
Number 6, Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Number 5, Boys on the Side.
I don't know that one.
Whoopi Goldberg and Drew Barrymore.
Oh, that does ring a bell.
Number 4, Outbreak.
Oh.
Number 3, Bullets Over Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Circle of Friends.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And number 1, Muriel's Wedding.
Cool. Well, I saw 3 of those in the cinema, I think. How tremendously good fun. Tell me about the pop chart, Ross.
Well, here we go. Number 10, Lenny by Supergrass. Mm-hmm. Number 9, Don't Stop, Wiggle Wiggle by the Out Here Brothers. Number 8.
Your face, big guy,
Good one. Number 8, Two Can Play That Game, Bobby Brown.
Yep.
Number 7, Chains, Tina Arena. Number 6, here we go. This is the absolute smash. Scatman, brackets, ski bar, bop, bar, dop, bop, bracket, Scatman John.
Yeah.
Number 5, Key to My Life, Boyzone. Number 4, Back for Good, Take That. Number 3, Guaglione by Perez Prado and his orchestra. Do you know what that is, Mark?
I do know that one, yeah. I can hear it in my head, but I
Guinness
couldn't
advert.
Yeah, that's the one.
Number 2, Some Might Say by Oasis.
Mm-hmm.
And number 1, Dreamer by Living Joy.
Cool. Do you have an advert for us, Russ?
I do, Mark, I do.
Ooh.
Here we go. Now, I have to say, it was an absolute embarrassment of riches, Mark. We need to do more 1995 episodes because there were many good adverts. And I was really undecided what to do. I would say 90% of the adverts had Harry Enfield in them. So I thought, okay, I'll find one with Harry Enfield in it. And also, I found one that fits the theme of the episode. So that's the one I went for. That was the only way I could make the decision.
I admire Venables. He's changing the shape of English football to a more European style.
Oh, yeah. But if he tried to change the shape of hula hoops to a more European shape, like an hexagonal cuboid...
I'd say, oi, Venables! No! He's hoopy! It's a cylindrical taste feast! Hula hoops are round, they're staying round, and they'll be around forever!
Wow.
I love the Self-Righteous Brothers. I think they're some of my favourite Harry Enfield characters. And there's so many of those hula hoop adverts as well. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Sort of
magazine covers. I was
going to say there's a lot of people in the world who are like the Self-Righteous Brothers these days, isn't there? You know, Britain has sort of essentially filled up with people like that.
Well, you and I have long discussed the fact that the dissolution of the concept of shame has destroyed society as we knew it.
Yeah.
Magazine covers, Russ.
Moving swiftly on. New Scientist. Alien Earth, searching for new worlds. Scientific American. Clouds of tobacco smoke continued their spread despite warnings. Cigarettes are back, Mark. I saw an article in The Guardian today saying cigarettes are back.
Yeah, I think they are. I will say this, though. I can't remember where we were recently. Where were we recently? Was it Belgium? No, it was when I was in Spain with some friends, and there were a lot of people smoking. They were younger than us. Smoking just looks cool. I can't stand it. I think it's horrible. It smells. But if you're at the right age and you're smoking, you just look cool.
Yeah.
You can't beat that, right? I think, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, Popular Science, special issue, Oceans at Risk, Undersea Explorers, searching for giant squid. El Nino, and that's another big thing these days. Yeah, it's all about the sea, basically. Time, how dangerous are they? An inside look at America's anti-government zealots. Good job there's no anti-government zealots in America these days, isn't it, Mark? 14 Times, Stalking of the Beast, big cat sightings across the UK. And Vikings from Hell, Norway's satanic heavy metal murderers.
Well, it's too late. We put them to shame last week, didn't we?
They took one hell of a beating.
They took one hell of a beating.
Private Eye is actually called Prita VEI because it's a Victory Souvenir VE Day special.
Oh, how lovely!
Because obviously it was VE Day celebrations on the 8th of May in 1995.
Of course.
And
oh yeah, I remember that.
What's the one thing I remember about the? I've probably mentioned this before. What's the one thing I remember about the VE Day celebrations in 1995?
I don't know.
It was on a Monday. And it was when BBC Two premiered the first episode of The Outer Limits.
Yes. See, you remember that in a positive way. I remember that as just sitting there thinking like, oh,
yeah,
why isn't the X-Files?
No, I don't remember it. But I also remember. I remember being excited because it was there to replace the X-Files over the summer.
I do remember. But the first episode was quite a good one. Was that the one with the little insect alien things?
Aliens, yeah. And it's,
that was good.
Was it Bow Bridges? It was
Bow Bridges. It was Bow Bridges. Yeah. That wasn't bad, but then the rest of it was not great.
Yeah. Rubs.
One of these things is not like the other.
Viz. Lots of competitions on the front of Viz. There's a champagne trip. Win a champagne trip to France on Concorde for every reader. Returning on the QE2, only 10p. How to win the lottery every week. Simple tips that will make you a millionaire. Free money and sex. Win a 10-minute trolley dash in the Bank of England, plus sex with the supermodel of your choice. And 100,000 Rolls Royces must be won in Britain's biggest ever posh car giveaway.
Posh car giveaway, okay.
And Playboy, shockingly, the front cover model of Playboy this month is Nancy Sinatra. She does it her way.
Okay.
I looked up. Right. Nancy Sinatra was 55.
Not...
55 in
I
this.
I don't like, kinky boots, surely, rather than...
She is indeed wearing a pair of kinky boots, to be fair.
Oh, is she? That's all right then. 55, fair play.
Hollywood's dark romance with heroin and 20 questions with David Hasselhoff.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, should we order the episode, Russ? I suggest we start crunching the numbers. If you can find the right button to crunch the numbers, because obviously you have moved it aside for the new presenter klaxon.
Maybe I'll just use the diplomatic immunity button that I've still got.
Diplomatic immunity, of course, Russell. Yes, please. That wasn't overplayed. Most important invention.
I'm going to get out on a limb here, Mark, and say the cure for cancer.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Go on then, I agree with you. It is the cure for cancer. Yeah, nothing's going to beat that any week, right? Most worthless invention? Is it...
Well, I mean, the truffles are still edible, but those those saplings are the invention, and they're not going to grow because they are going to grow, but the truffles aren't going to grow on them because they're for desert.
Yes,
they're desert truffles. They won't grow. They won't grow in Germany or in Europe.
The whole thing's a grift, right? Like the whole thing
grift.
Is So it has to be that, right?
Yeah, I mean the computer game's pretty rubbish. But
if it's not that, then it's the I suppose the invention is potential nuclear holocaust as a way of tracking soil erosion. So yeah, I think you're right. Most inaccurate prediction of the future.
Oh, that's easy. That's old Leo saying that full motion video games are the games of the future.
They're gonna destroy Hollywood. Yeah. Which is just an incredible leap. Worst screw up.
They don't really have screw ups because it's all pre-recorded.
Stuff.
But I guess you could. Shahnaz not spotting that is quite clearly a desert truffle and not a European truffle.
Or just not. I don't want to say smelling because of the truffles, but like just not being able to sniff out that something's up. Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. I wouldn't necessarily say that was Shahnaz's entire fault, but that entire team who went out there and signed it off.
Yeah. I just mean, there's no point did anybody in that crew go, "That doesn't look like a truffle."
Yeah, quite. But then we are posh middle class boys, Russ. We are truffle aficionados, you and I. So maybe not everyone is the same. Best attempt at making something boring interesting.
That's another easy one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nuclear explosions have definitely made soil erosion.
Normally,
nuclear explosions, soil erosion. Nuclear explosions, soil erosion.
I think you're right there. Best use of music?
There's not a huge amount of music in this episode. There's I'll tell you what is the worst use of music is the fact they use a piece of music called Super Bowl.
Yeah.
During the football
section.
Which is,
I totally agree.
That's insulting.
That is quite disgusing.
The only other music I would say that I think they use is they use some German drinking music while they've got a big fat German on screen. I don't know whether that's.
I mean, I suppose we have to go with that, don't we? I mean, if you get the thing is, I would dismiss that if it was the only one. But if you're gonna give me two and one of them is desperately inappropriate, I will go with the one that at least is vaguely appropriate and say, all right, fine, that'll have to do. I mean, I don't track these anymore. Best or worst use of furniture?
I guess it's got to be
Eric's
comfy sofa.
Oh, that was good. I would see that and I think raise it. The fact that Dr. Dixon seemed to be sitting in his grandmother's front room on that amazing floral sofa.
Yes, of course. Yes, I forgot about that. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. That was the one I immediately think of. But you know what? I think I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with Eric's because actually that genuinely felt more like that was the centre of the family home.
He probably does need that sofa as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, so I think actually that probably is a morally better choice. Most notable clothing. Well, there's obviously Dr. Dixon's fabulous 90s Southampton top that he wears. I like the caterpillar boots that Vorderman is wearing when she's in an otherwise black suit when she's on the sidelines. But Russell, finish what you're going to say because...
Well, I was going to say there's the two. I was going to say there's Howard's weird police outfit, but then there's Monty's hat.
Of Correct.
Monty's strange little hat.
It has to be. I'm not even sure it's the worst hat, but I will go with Monty's hat because obviously Monty we know. I totally agree with that one. Did we see anything in the episode that made it through to the future? And actually, yes, the answer is obviously true. I mean, Truffles have, but not necessarily this particular grift. But the cure for cancer is still being, or that particular approach is still very much something that's being worked on. Bizarrely, FMV games have made it into the future. So has radioactive poisoning and soil, and soil erosion.
Be around for a few
and then
more
just
100
like the
years.
idea of betting in football and statistics as well.
Yes.
Statistical analysis have all made it into the future, which is kind of remarkable. And what does this episode tell us about the 12th of May 1995?
A lot of dodgy characters about, Mark. A lot of grifting.
A lot of dodgy characters. You're absolutely right.
Ducking and diving, wheeling and dealing. You know, that's the theme
Everyone
of this
has
episode.
an immoral side hustle.
Yeah.
Gosh, what a time to be alive. I mean, we were. But...
They've spent the 80s watching Minder and Only Fools and Horses, and everyone's decided to now become a bit wee, a bit dodgy.
Best 4-letter word in the English language is spiv, right? So we have tropes to account for us. I don't believe we had a presenter having to speak over louder sounds.
No.
There was no niche bicycle invention.
No.
There was nothing to do with oil rigs. Was there anything suspiciously obvious?
William Hill.
Any suspiciously of... Yes, yeah, absolutely. I knew there was something, which is why I was questioning it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's very clear where they're going to film the bets. Clear and blatant lying.
Yes, the Kurdish
scientist.
scientist.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Do
you think they deliberately obscure his name? Do you think they didn't put his name on screen because he asked not to have his name put on screen?
Or do you think that by the time they were coming round to broadcast it, they'd had enough doubts to try and not obfuscate, but kind of put a bit of distance?
Yeah, maybe.
There was no casual sexism. Russ, there was a lab or space filled with darkness and star-coloured lights.
Yeah.
There wasn't a Dutch angle.
No.
There wasn't an item presented from a gantry, and us talking about Star Trek Generations doesn't count. Was there a dad joke from Howard?
Well, there was his comment about the lady in the game. That's the sort of thing a dad would say, isn't it?
It's 100% correct. Yeah. The episode does not end on a damp squid.
It's the best part of the episode.
Damn straight is the only reason watching it. There was no Woolard and McCann abroad or Carmen in a small European town. There were no lasers.
No.
There was no magnets.
No.
There were no boats.
No.
Baxter doesn't bugger off, and they didn't travel to Shepherd's Bush.
No.
So all that leaves me to say, Russ, is that there are 1,409 episodes of Tomorrow's World ever broadcast. We have now successfully audited 64, which I think deserves a pat on the back, which means we have but a paltry 1,345 left to audit, meaning we have successfully audited 4.542228531% of all episodes, leaving us a barely measurable 95.457777147 episodes left to audit, which still puts us on course, despite the delay in doing this one and the last one, because I've been busy for various different reasons. We're still on course to deliver every episode by March 2142, Russ.
Astonishing, Mark. And that does mean we are now 20 episodes ahead of Question of Sport in terms of the putative Question of Sport podcasts. We were at least 20 episodes ahead of them if somebody starts one this month.
Yes, that's true. I hadn't thought about it that way. Yes. Phew, what a relief.
Maybe add that to your list.
I will do. I mean, I won't. Because that would send us insane.
Well, Mark, after seeing the other Mark, Dr. Mark Dixon, seeing that incredible success he had at gambling, I've decided to go against the habit of a lifetime and perhaps take up gambling.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I've quickly remortgaged my house. Taking all the money
choice.
Taking all the money out of cash.
Yeah.
Got it in a big bag. I'm off. We're going to go off down Wilhelm Heuvel, which is obviously the Dutch William Hill. And I think I'm going to put all my money on England to win the World Cup. So yeah, it's incredible.
Just a quick question: which one?
Incredible odds. There's incredible odds available. I'm going to win big, Mark. I'm going to win big if England win the World Cup.
Russ,
so
I really admire your faith.
But I've got a system that makes me feel that they are definitely going to win. So yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah. So
when we stop recording, let me have a quick word with you.
Yes, but that is us for this month. So, well, it's goodbye from us, really, isn't it? And if you are on the internet, we will see you tomorrow.
Goodbye.